Hello, Pockets. Hello, Dave. Welcome to happy hour. It is 3 o'clock, which means time to relax after a long week. Oh, I love your shirt, Pockets. I love what you're wearing. A
Oh,
Shea Mave original.
yes.
So cool.
It's lunchtime for me.
Oh, it's lunchtime. But it's lunchtime. Oh, I see. It's a little bit earlier for you. That's right.
Well, and a late lunch is two. So, but
Yeah.
hmm,
So, how are you, Dave? Are you on in?
Hey, yeah, hi, I'm here.
Yeah. It's a little bit later for you, right? It'll be actually oh,
4 o'clock for me.
yeah. Yeah. And then Casper, only a hobo. Hello, hello. Is that, oh, I see. That must be your chart. Wonderful. Well, yeah, the idea of the happy hour here. Hello. Hi.
Hey guys.
hi.
It's really just to get a chance to kind of get to know each other. And we've just had 1 week of Signpost. And so it's been a really busy week for me. I don't know how busy it's been for all of you. I guess there have been a lot of events going on, but also just for me, I've been working deep in the code all week and really excited on that front. But uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been really
Oh
great.
yeah.
Thank you for joining Signpost. I mean, what an exciting thing for me anyway. This is something I've been really wanting to do for 2 years. Hi, Christine. Thanks for joining. Christine, the GIF queen. Do you say GIF or GIF? That would be, I would trust you as the GIF queen. Are you doing something interesting with your camera, Dave? It keeps flickering. What's going on there? Playing
I'll
with
go
the.
for a
Oh,
second.
I see.
Window cleaning.
I see. Window cleaner. Yeah. So, are people actually drinking any sort of intoxicating beverage? I mean, you don't have to be. I was. Oh, okay. Perfect. Cucumber melon in a Lone Star. Nice. I did actually open a hard seltzer just because it's been a long week.
Ooh.
And, here in Santa Fe, Topo Chicos are really popular. Usually, people just have a plain Topo Chico with tequila. That's called ranch water. That's our customary drink. But now Topo Chico has these hard seltzers, which is kind of the same thing. So. Well, I'm signing up for Signpost to have an annual subscription to BodyGraph Chart, which is a body graph generator tool. So I've already built a bunch of generator tools. If you go on signposthd.com/dashboard, you can actually see I have most everything turned off just because I don't want to release anything that might have bugs and I need to test more of it. So, I mean, I actually have a lot more features than are currently available on there, but, I've just been adding little bits and pieces, but then I realized it'll be a lot faster also to get some cool features up quickly using bodygraphchart.com, which is the body graph API that a lot of people use for making human design charts. So I just went ahead and bit the bullet and signed up for their annual subscription, and I'll be implementing that on Signpost as well. So we'll all get their whole tool set, which can do all sorts of charts, really. And I'm still kind of planning to build it all out myself the hard way. I'm a first line. I don't really trust it unless I've seen how it's built, right? Like I really want to, but it'll also be nice because then I'll have a standard to compare to and kind of, it can't hurt. I figured it's worth it. So we got that going, but yeah, I don't want to just bore you all with dev updates. I thought we could get to know each other, talk about things, just, connect more, really. If anyone wants to share what their week was like or anything, really. Um, I do have some fun activities and things we can do at some point, but I thought for now just hang out a little bit. And when I say fun activities, I mean Hoja jokes. For those who don't know, I love the jokes of Nasruddin Hoja, who was a 13th century wise fool, and people get pretty tired of my Hoja jokes. But I actually got Lindsay at the HDHD post conference retreat pretty into Hoja to the point where she actually couldn't stop reading them, and so I actually gave her my Hoja joke book. So, hey, Roger.
They were so good. That was so fun.
Really? Okay. Well, thank you. You're the second person then beyond Lindsay to like Hoja jokes. Most people really aren't that into the Hoja jokes.
Oh, they're so clever and silly.
Yeah, they're very silly. They're very playful. Hey, Casey. Hi. I was just saying if nobody has anything to talk about, I'm just going to start telling Hoja jokes. So watch out.
Jonah, can you hear me?
God.
I got you, Roger. I can hear you.
Well, I'm trying to do all my settings. I've got a remote desktop, 2 computers, USB hub. You know the
Wow.
drill.
A lot of
Multiple
things.
You're talking
video
to us from the
conferencing apps.
Matrix. You're inside the Matrix right now. That's great. Well, let me think of a good recent Hoja joke. I had one earlier today. I mean, I'll think of a good one. I'm always sending them to Vaughn. He really can't stand them. But then he comes up with his own. Like he'll just tell me his own Hoja jokes that he makes up. So go figure. But,
Christina, I like your Pink Floyd butts on the wall back there.
Why, thank you. The back catalog.
I love them.
I got it in undergrad. I was like, it's got all the colors on it. Why not?
No,
I
it's so
think,
great.
I think the wall was #1 on like whatever on the day I was born. So
Awesome. Lovely. I used to have that painting, but when I moved, one of the movers took it once.
No.
Yeah, they're awful, but whatever. I guess they needed it more than me. But I love it. It looks great on your wall.
Why, thank you. I'm always like trying to cover up the butts. Like maybe it's my 59.6. I don't know.
They're adorable. Love
Thank
the
you.
butts.
Okay, I found one. I found a good Hoja joke. I also love Pink Floyd, by the way. Okay, Hoja was in the local bathhouse, and he was sitting with the Pasha. The Pasha was the very, high-ranking, wealthy official. And the Pasha owned many slaves and so on, and he would talk to Hoja. And he said, my slaves have different values. They have different prices. And I've started to wonder, if I were a slave, what value would I have? And he's just, sitting there in his bathrobe in the bathhouse. And, Hoja looks him up and down and goes, I would say around 50 piaster. To which the man says, 50 piaster? This robe alone costs 50 piaster. And then Hoja says, I'm talking about the robe. He would be worthless. That's yeah.
Oh.
Which, I mean, that is
all his burns.
I'm sure that, 4521 has some value, but most of its value is the value of what is gathered. So anyway. Hello. Hi there, Nicola. Hi, Marissa.
Hello. Hi.
Happy hour. I was just telling jokes. If anyone has any jokes,
It's being weird.
share them.
I have just one single great joke, but it's really dirty, so I don't typically tell it that
Oh,
often.
please, give
Let's
it
do
to
it.
us.
Let's do it.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm in Australia. It's 7 a.m. here. And I literally just opened my eyes. So
You're about to tell a dirty
That's
joke at 7 a.m. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Morning.
You are a
That's the
trooper. Thank
vibe.
you so much.
You might have heard this. Hopefully not, because it's a classic. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, I can't believe I'm doing this. My first introduction to y'all. Okay. What did Cinderella say when she got to the ball?
What? Oh my God. Wow. Wow. That's a really
That's a
I've
good
not
one.
heard that one before actually. That's a really good. Wow. Wow. Okay. That
Sorry,
one, I'm
guys, you
filing
asked
that
for
away.
it.
These things stay with you
Yeah.
for 7 years. So I'm gonna have that on hand for
Well,
if I need that
here
particular
we
joke.
are.
Those- cheers. Well, it's
Oh.
Friday afternoon for me here in Santa Fe, so that's the perfect Friday afternoon joke after a long week. So
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad that it's perfect for you.
I was just saying it was a really long week for me. I don't know about for everyone else, but I've been deep in the code rabbit hole, dealing with time zone issues and trying to build out the Signpost database. And I'm not going to bore everyone with too many dev updates other than to say today I signed up for Bodygraph Chart, which is an API service that will also let us get a bunch of free tools to add to the Signpost website. Well, not free, I mean, we're paying them, but like an all-inclusive price, we get a whole suite of tools. So that'll be nice. And I'll be putting out different announcements about that as we get those added. But
Fun. You're doing lots of work for this. It's wonderful.
yeah, I mean, I've tried to be involved as much as I can on the Discord and in the classes and in the, in the audio and so on. But most of what I've been doing this week is just being deep in the code. And it's been great. I mean, I love programming. It's one of my first passions, well, besides music. And being able to build human design software is definitely a treat for me. So I've been doing that.
Very.
I signed up for
Kurzweil.
cartography today with Peter Burv.
Oh,
Ooh,
very
Saw
cool.
that.
I'm
That's,
excited about
I like
that.
Peter a lot.
I know he's
you
really
and I were
cool.
talking about guide training. I struggle with IHDS a little bit. Probably not the best place to talk about that, but yeah.
Oh no, this is a safe space to talk about criticisms of IHDS or anything.
All right, you want a bucket session? 22
Uh-huh.
years is a reflector. Well, not me. 12 years is a reflector, but in 22 years, nothing has been released. I've spent 12 years scouring the earth for information, and I've got a lot, and it's good for me, but I really feel for the younger reflectors, the LYD. And I had this conversation with Richard. I think we could do better for the younger reflectors and set them up. But I was thinking about LYD training. It's just the requirements that seem so counterintuitive to me. You can charge this, you can only teach this, you can only do this. And I don't know. I'm still cycling over it. So I guess I'm soundboarding a little bit and going through that process. So
Yeah, I
we'll have
think
to see how I
what
feel
you
about
get
it.
is you kind of get a lineage, and so that's something where I've talked to Genoa about him doing some sort of training for myself. Not that I think I would benefit from the knowledge, but I would also benefit from the direct connection. So I would just say if there's a teacher that you want to gain the information from, if you feel connected to that particular teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be Peter and Richard specifically. I really enjoy both of them. Love their frequency. Met them both in Aura. So that's kind of moved me back towards the other way to consider it, quite frankly. So we'll see. I don't know yet.
Well, we have Peter Burv. For those who don't know him yet, he's doing something next week for us, right? So let me check the events here.
yeah, I think it's next week.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just get the time there, but he's wonderful. I've known him a couple of years now. He came to the first HDHD event, and then to the second event, and then came to this third one, and he always just has such a great vibe. He brings his hand pan, and he's really. I like that he is willing to explore and experiment with other mystical systems as well. Like he was very into, ascended master teachings and things like that. Theosophical Society. He's just a really interesting guy, and I love his vibe.
That's why I chose him, because he brings a lot of yin and spirit. And so that's what I was like, really, before I went to Santa Fe, I was like, I really want my next mentor to be like very yin spirit oriented. And I don't know. I just, as soon as I heard him, like I would listen to his bonding strategies, and it was like, both my 57 and my 22 and my 43 was like all open. I could hear it all. And it was just like sitting in my heart, and it felt so good. So anyway, yeah, I'm excited. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's Wednesday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So this coming Wednesday is when he'll be, and I'll post the link in the chat there. So, and he might do more than just one a month. He said he would do a few. He's interested in that anyway. But this is just our first month. We're kind of even just seeing what happens if we have 40 events. Do people actually show up? Well, so far they do, which is great. So thank you all for showing up. And then I'm also archiving them as much as possible. So for weird
I have a
times.
question though, Jonah. What's your vision of the room spaces? What do you see those
My
evolving?
vision for the rooms? Yeah. So is that you're asking me, or were you asking Hanifa?
Yeah.
I see she just joined. Okay.
Or anybody. I mean, I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of
Yeah,
Blank
my
slate.
particular vision. So what I really liked, I'm modeling a lot of what we're doing off of a service called Blackbox, and I was a member of Blackbox for a long time, and I just really loved it, and I loved everything they did. And that's a $100 a month subscription service that essentially has a Discord, classes. They actually have live radio 6 hours a day on weekdays, and that's what I would actually love to have. So you don't even have to really know, you don't even have to like check who's on. You just literally turn it on, and there's just people on the audio talking human design, doing chart analysis. I love the drop in, drop out because Zoom is great, but Zoom requires a lot of attention, and I get a little exhausted by having too many Zooms, you know? So it's kind of nicer to just have almost like human design radio, and then you can kind of drop in, drop out, chat, and so on. So I was a member of Blackbox for quite some time. They're a stock trading group, and that's where I learned options trading and I learned investing, and I just loved their model. And what they had was for any of the hosts and mods and even some of the members, they would create them private read-only rooms, which kind of acted like a Substack or a blog, where you could basically, you could see what they're up to. And some people would only post once a week, others would post every day. Some people would only post, I mean, kind of rarely, but there would be certain people I just really want to hear their take on things. So I would just check their room and go, oh, wow, that's an amazing take. Or that's so interesting. I really wonder what their commentary is. So mainly commentary, but then obviously also creative expressions. So I know you make a lot of really great work. Roger, you're making these great graphics, and I know Mark has been doing a lot of cool graphics as well, and so things like that. I've been posting photos in mine. I mean, just kind of, it's just a personal space, really, and I would just say if any members want their own room, just let me know, and I'd be happy to hook that up. But it's really just kind of like a Facebook wall or something, but it's just kind of convenient, and it's nice if you don't log in for a few days and you log in and there's a bunch you haven't seen, you can kind of click through them. And we'll see over time. Like if people aren't using their rooms, we'll just delete the room. It's no big deal. We can always add it back later if they want to start using it again. So because we obviously don't want a bunch of empty rooms, but yeah, that was kind of my idea for it. Was just what Blackbox was doing, and I'm trying to add some more things that they did as well. I mean, they have a really good model. If anyone out there is interested in investing, I can highly recommend that service. But their model is basically a combination of daily audio, Zoom classes, vibrant community, whole bunch of web tools, content library, and then they also do a lot of in-person events, which of course we have HDHD here, but I've also been excited to kind of just give perks to Signpost members, like give early access, maybe half price or free tickets to different events that we do and stuff like that, just to really make sure everyone's happy with the service, because that's what's going to really make or break it, is if people are happy with it. And that's also why we set a cap for our first cohort, just to make sure. And I think we're opening up to more now because we can handle more people, but we just wanted to make sure everyone who's in is really happy first, like let's make sure we have something solid. I'm a first line. I can't just do everything like all at
It's my
once.
job as a 3-5 to go in there and just start pushing buttons, right?
Yeah,
Which I was tempted to do, but I just wanted to hear your take on it before I started to do stuff more than I've
Yeah,
already done.
well, I don't think you have permissions to break it yet. I mean, you have my permission. I'm just saying I don't think you have like the admin. So like
Oh, no,
you can
no.
basically do anything you want, and if anything breaks, don't worry about it. It's meant to break. That's actually extremely helpful. So
No, I'm pretty adept at finding those spots. I'm also a technology guy like you. I'm a tech consultant, but I'm not a coder. I stay away from the code. It's not my jam.
yeah. I mean, there's different. Yeah, but no. I mean, that's my idea for the rooms, and I mean, I'm also open to things people want to build, but my vision is just if we can get this community big enough to where we can kind of keep it all running, then I can basically devote time full time to making new services that we all actually want, and then also just having access to each other throughout the year. That's kind of part of it. Is I love the HDHD event, but then I miss everybody the rest of the time, and I would end up on all of these phone calls, keeping in touch with everyone, and it's like, well, let's just all connect this way more. So
I love that. I've actually thought about just popping into one of those rooms and just being available, right? Just, hey, anybody
Yeah.
wants to just talk, chat,
Well, and
whatever.
you can
Comes.
go on air anytime. You have the permission set
Yeah.
up. And so right now only the hosts have that permission, but if there are people who want to talk on air, just let me know, shoot me a message and I can hook that up. And
Could also
yeah,
do that in my room as well and just open up the room to the group as well, I think.
right. Well, you have, so right now it's set to read only, but you have the ability to change that so everyone can post in there if you want to. That's just in
I
the
might do that.
room. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I might do
Absolutely.
that. I'd like the interactivity. I'm a 5 line, so
I mean, I
yeah.
also don't mind you doing that on main. It's really up to you. I mean, like one of the things that one of the reasons we made them read only is because there's a lot of discords out there that you're just overwhelmed by all the different conversations going on. I like keeping one conversation because that way, that's something that Black Box did really well. Technically, we have two. We have the basement where you can talk about anything you want at all. But one of the nice things, if you're talking about text chat, just do it in main because I mean that's my advice anyway because that way it doesn't get stratified and there's not 8 conversations going on at once or
Yep.
it just kind of keeps it and then people will see it more as well because that's part of it is Discord does have a bit of a learning curve and I think as we build out the web tools I'm guessing some people will switch over to the website more because we're going to syndicate the main chat onto the website as well as syndicate the audio. So that'll make it so people who don't like using Discord don't really have to have it open and can just kind of be on the website. So I would just say, yeah, I think main is a great place for that too. But anyway, I don't want to bore everyone. This is a happy hour. We don't need to. I get very serious. The
Yeah.
shadow of Gate 46. I'm like, and here's the dev update, and here's the vision, and all this stuff. But really, I'm just so glad that you're all here and that we're all able to experiment in this together. It is a big experiment, and I don't really know where it'll end up. And hopefully, we can just keep people excited enough and interested enough.
I was just informed by my 15-year-old egomaniac daughter. She wanted to leave early 20 minutes ago. We're working on the informing part. She's fantastic, but oh my gosh, the last minute stuff. Anybody else raise kids in design? My kids have been about 10 years and wonderful kids. It's astonishing to watch. My son who's 18, he's first year of college and he's 3.8 GPA, and I'm like, whoa. And my daughter at 15, she's a 21D son to my 45, always like this with the handout, right? I wasn't giving her enough, so she went and manifested herself a job out of nowhere, which I thought was phenomenal. So that was this week. It was pretty cool.
Awesome. Cool.
Got 3. I have it. She's gonna be 20 next week.
Oh my.
And she is doing good. She's in college and she actually is dance as well. She's doing a performance tomorrow. And it's like K-pop. I don't know. She's really into K-pop. That's so for her 20th birthday, she asked for this jingle jam ticket with K-pop, and it's going to be in New York. And she's like buying her. I got her the ticket, but she's buying like everything else herself and like going herself and going to New York by herself. I'm a little scared, but I think it'll be fine. And then I've got an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. And so those two, yeah, like they're good. I mean, they're all good. Abby definitely, I just got started doing human design with her 3 years ago. So definitely like past all the child parts and had some cleanup to do. But for the most part, she's living her design. I mean, she's a 1/4 emotional emoting channel generator. And
Watching my daughter's a 45/21 only, and watching her walk out the door and say bye dad and hopping into a car is, I mean, every norm part of me wants to say no, 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 no. You know what I mean? And it's so hard to let go of that and say, well, we don't do that here,
yeah.
But kids are great. I really am impressed with both of my kids so far. So it's been great.
I think I fell in love with my kids more after human design because you understand them more.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Crickets.
No, there's no crickets. I was just looking at our breakdown that we, just like the HDHD conference in 2022, not as much this past year. We actually had more sacrally defined people. We were about 40% sacrally defined, but the previous year we were around 30% sacrally defined. And this group is 30% sacrally defined. Of the 10 people in the group, we have 3 generators or manifesting generators, 3 reflectors, 3 projectors, and a manifester. So how interesting is that? Just that.
3 reflectors in one spot in a group
Yeah.
this small is unusual for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's something that I've just found about, HDHD, and now here on Signpost is very, inverse of the normal world, so-called, where there's normally 70-30 split. This is 70-30 the other way. So that's kind of cool. I have a couple packages to open. I've been saving these for a special occasion. This one is, I think, a gift for the Santa Fe Human Design Library, or maybe me personally. But I just had my birthday, so I've been getting gifts in the mail, and so I thought it would be kind of fun. And I also have one. This one. Let's see. I have one. Oh, here it is. Ceremonians. This is from Brynja Magnuson, so I've been waiting to open this. I'm excited about.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I had a really fun birthday party, and I hadn't realized. I mean, it was very uncontrived. We just made it really theatrical, but in an uncontrived way. Like it wasn't. I mean, it just happened to end up really theatrical. And then Mike pointed out that the nodes right now are kind of the immersive theater nodes, as he describes them. That they're very experiential, but then also 32. I'm not exactly sure his rationale, but he just said everybody's all about immersive theater right now. Like everything is about these kind of experiential things. And so it made a lot of sense. My birthday party was a Greek symposium where we did a play and we did a bunch of Greek activities from ancient Greece and stuff. And
so that explains the picture under the tree where you were wearing the Roman soldier outfit.
Well, everyone else was supposed to, so everyone else was supposed to dress up like that. And they did by the end of the night. That was just a little bit earlier. I started the day dressed like that. They were all like, we're dressing up later. So I was the only one. I mean, you were there, Pockets. So let's see what.
The play was really great.
Yeah.
Sing really killed that. It
was a really good. We did a rendition of Stanislav Vitkovich's "The Madman and the Nun," and it was on its 100-year anniversary of being written, a 1923 proto-surrealist play. And Anhad Singh, better known as Human Design Heretic on Instagram, I didn't know that he's a voice actor and an actor. He's been paid for it. And I could tell because, I mean, it makes so much sense. He just knocked it out of the park. Like I was saying, we're going to do this play later. He says, I can audition. And I'm like, you want to, okay, let's do it. So here's a line. And then he was like, oh, you don't know what, I was like, how do you do that? Like his voice has such an incredible range and he just genuinely sounded crazy. So he did a really good job. He played the, titular character of the madman, the title character. And then we had Jen Cole as the nun. Yeah, it was really a lot of fun. I wonder what this gift could possibly be. Oh, Stork Housing, first of all, an interesting cup. I think that's just the container. I really don't know. But thank you to Julia Larson for this. Wow. I think it's like ceramic. Oh my word. Oh, I wonder if she made this. It's literally a cup.
Aww.
With a body graph. How sweet is that? I gotta send her a message, and it looks like it
so
has
cool.
a hexagram on the back. And it says to Jonah on the bottom. She must have made this. Wow.
Oh,
Well, this
wow.
is going right on my desk.
Uh-huh.
Wow, I gotta send Julia a really nice thank you. And there's something
Well,
else
I have
too.
to go. Kids are
Thanks for
calling.
joining, Casey.
Bye,
Love
Casey.
y'all.
Bye. Bye, Casey.
See you, Case.
Oh, these are for candles. I see. They're candle holders. I thought they were like shot glass. That's where I go with it. But
Wow.
and this has my variable imprint on it.
Oh,
So
that's
wow, that's really
very
nice of her. And it looks like it has some other imprint on the back, kind of. Oh, these are so cool. I gotta send her a thank you for that. That's really nice. I was at Alokanand Diaz's house last year, and he has incredible human design art all over his house. I mean, he's actually made some of it too. Like he just did his
that pool thing.
mosaic piece. Yeah,
That thing was incredible.
yeah, but he also just has a bunch of art by Paul Lawrence Curtis, who had actually given that art to Ra, and then it was like passed on to Alok, and then he has a bunch of other like human design statues, like these like really cool things, paintings, statues. I was
DeWong
really
makes
impressed.
stuff too. He had some sculptures. If you've ever seen some of the work DeWong does, DeWong.
No. Oh, well, actually, yes, I do have the ones. I have a keychain he made. Yeah. I
Yeah,
really
he
like
makes
it.
some pretty cool stuff. I like him a lot.
Very cool. Yeah. So this is from Brynja Magnuson, who I loved her talks. Also, I should mention for anyone who wasn't at the HDHD conference or didn't have access to the remote pass, we are making those all available. I mean, it's all available to Signpost members. I'm building out the website where you can browse it. But if you're starved for HD content and want to check it out, just message me on Discord and I will send the link to all of that. This is really nice. I got a nice message from Brynja. Thank you for this opportunity. Also, you remind me so much of my friend Mallory, who also does research on bats in New Mexico. Super unique intelligence. I don't do research on bats. What? Who also does? I guess it's like you remind me of my friend, and then they also do research on bats. But yeah, that's really nice. Okay, I'll have to meet her friend Mallory. And oh, this okay. Yeah, she just gave me a lot of stuff. So
Oh,
for
look at
those
that.
not familiar with Brynja,
Cool.
she does these incredible card decks. I already have this one, so maybe this will be. I mean, this is a really nice one. This is one that we gave these out in 2022 as prizes at the conference, but I do not have this. So this I'm very excited to read. This is
Oh wow.
her new book, Yin Mysticism in the Vesica Pisces, and this really appeals to my Jungian side. So wow, yeah, this is.
I got that too. I haven't really had a chance to dig into it yet, but I ordered it a while back and just got it
Exciting.
recently. Yeah.
Wonderful. And then she gave me the Animal Totems book as well. So, wow, well, that's really nice of Brynja. And she wants to join Signpost, and we were actually talking about it. She said she'd be happy to do a monthly or bi-monthly thing. We're kind of just, I have to follow up with a bunch of people who have said that they would join and do things and so on. But yeah, she's a really, really special person, and I really like her second line. Well, she's a 5-2, or she's a 2-5, but I like that she's doing just a lot of her own. I won't even call it like original research. I guess that's more of a first line thing, but just her own original observations and ways of understanding human design. Like her talk at the conference made quite a splash. And what someone said that I thought was really accurate was that Ra gave us the first line knowledge. Now there's this second wave, and they're doing like second line human design knowledge and second wave human design knowledge. And that was an interesting observation there. So yeah, it's really exciting. I got this as a gift from Genoa and Lasita also. I just wanted to share that, and I thought I would maybe look at our incarnation cross of the day, but they are the publishers and the owners of Human Design America. So that was
I
nice
like
that
this stuff.
they stopped by for the post-conference retreat just for a little bit, but that was nice. You got to meet them, Pockets. And some of us there got to. And, they were on our Human Design Catalyst on Monday. So I'm thinking Lasita will join again. I hope she will. And for anyone who's free Monday, or you can catch the replay, but it was really nice having her. We had her for the whole session, and then Genoa stopped in for about half an hour and had some nice comments. And
I've been listening to a lot of his older lectures later on the frequencies of the planets, Genoa. Those things are phenomenal.
So good. Yeah.
I don't know those. I haven't heard those. Well, They're both members of Signpost, and both him and his partner Lasita, and so I'm hoping they'll continue to be engaged and to join more. And you can always at them in the main and ask them questions and stuff, and see if they reply. So
I got a cross share that I still owe you of all that stuff that I did find. I've got to sort through your stuff, my stuff, Jan's stuff, and synthesize it a little more. But I have all those lectures that Genoa did.
oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, he's been sharing a lot with me as well, and he actually has a lot of unreleased material that he wants to be archived and potentially released. We've talked about him donating that just to the public through a library initiative, which is really appealing to him because he just was very concerned with preserving all of this knowledge into the future, and so he's been very supportive. They both have been very supportive of getting a human design library sort of project off the ground. And I've been working on the Santa Fe Human Design Library, which would be the Santa Fe wing of it, and that's been nice. They've been very supportive of that.
Reflectors on a call. If you're looking for reflector lectures, I've got almost everything that I think is out there. So just reach out to me on Signpost. Happy to share with you guys.
Awesome.
So
Yeah, and also just talking to Roger himself, your take on it is just so powerful, and I would love for you to. I mean, anything you want to do, whether it's I could interview you, or we could do some videos together, or do sessions, or just have it be spontaneous in the group. I mean, however it works. But
there's so many things that are emerging right now, and I'm trying to sit with my inconsistency and not mentally do it. If you get my drift, it all seems to be percolating at once. My website, the LYD training. It'll come, but I'm just so inconsistent. I don't know when it's coming sometimes, but that's the way it's supposed to be, right?
I feel that.
Yeah.
Well, that was something I liked that Lasita said at our HD Catalyst, was that the undefined centers can be really unpredictable because, even though you have activation, you have hanging gates, we can characterize them and so on. I mean, that's where we get surprise as a keynote, is the surprise of, like, it can either be surprising because it can be peaking and moving so fast and building momentum, and then it can go 10x from that momentum, or it can be surprising because it can build all that momentum and drop off a cliff, and we just don't know. I mean, it can be, but it can be so exciting to just get to experience. I mean, I think for all of us, it's not even a type thing. The more we deepen into the experiment, the more momentum our lives build, and pretty soon we're just a ball rolling down a hill, And
I told the call the other day that the conference was huge for that, for me. I mean, I feel like I was a hard drive that got overwritten by all of your high frequencies, and I was resonating for 3 or 4 days afterwards. It was incredible.
Well, it's also you and the other reflectors. I mean, that's something we noticed the previous year also, is that because the reflectors have such large aura and such an outsized kind of, it's like someone who was seeing Amma, the hugging saint. She can help people spontaneously have these different experiences and so on. And they had an experience there where they could see auras, and they could see everyone's auras except hers. And then they went to the edge of the room and they could see that her aura was so big it filled up the entire room. It was like they were in it, was why they couldn't see it, because it was actually filling everything. And so having 7 reflectors this year was so powerful and really did act as the prima materia for an alchemical transformation process. So yeah, as much as you were being overwritten, you were also broadcasting out all of that, and it was symbiotic for sure.
It would be interesting to hear what Rob would have said on the day he died with that reflector talk. I don't know if everybody knows about that. The day Rob died, he was supposed to talk about part of our purpose as reflectors, and he was directly referencing, if I'm doing from memory, I think it was variables, and the consciousness program as a whole was kind of the overarching framework of that, as I remember it. I could go find that, but we'll never know.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, I did bring a couple of books just in case we want to. This is one of my favorite books. This is all Alak lectures.
Yes, so good.
So good. And I would highly recommend if anyone gets the opportunity to see him in Costa Rica. I think they're going to do it again this year, so it'll be January 2024. I'm going to try to go. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's worth it. And really, to have 2 weeks in Costa Rica, just hanging out and learning human design, and I
Is
mean,
it Chaitanya too?
yeah, that he's the one who puts it on. Yeah, so he's
I'd love
wonderful.
to go. We'll have to see how that works out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I saw on Facebook he said that his authority was saying no this year.
Really? Ah, what a
Yeah.
bummer.
Mhm.
What a bummer. Well, Alok has a lot going on, and then Chaitanya also, I know, had some setbacks with the other events he was trying to put on and so on. But if it happens, then definitely give it a try. I've been trying to bring Alok to the U.S. as well, but it's hard because of all the legal stuff. It's just kind of a hassle to try to. It was there was a 300-day wait just to get the business visa,
Ugh.
reviewed when I checked. So at some point we'd like to do that, but in the meantime, maybe I can coax him to come here as a visitor and not do any commercial work, but just attend the conference. And I'm trying to coax him with Burning Man because that's something he's always wanted to do. And I told him, look, you don't have to do anything. I'm gonna make the ultimate plug and play, which of course is like very anti to the whole Burning Man ethos. They're like, no plug and play camp. But I'm like, for him, it would be, because he would give back anyway. It's impossible for him to go somewhere and not give back. Alok is a very generous person, and I know that he wouldn't just be an observer at Burning Man. He would be contributing a lot as well. So he's very creative. But yeah, we will see. I keep trying to get him to come out. I know next year Jakub Stratetsky wants to come visit, not for Burning Man. He said that his caves environment wouldn't like that very much. But I said, well, they have tents. You can hang out in the tent. But too exposed. But he wants to come to the conference. So
Potential exists for a lot more reflectors next year. I've been talking to quite a few of them.
Wow.
And I'm the 45-5, so the gathering together.
Yeah.
See if that works out.
Well, I've already tried to set up. So next year's HDHD is starting on September 18th. That was not planned based on transits. That's just when we could get both venues. And so it'll have the same venue we had this year as well as the venue we had in 2022. So we should be able to handle around 250 people max. Not that we'll necessarily fill it up, but it'll just be nice to not have to worry about it because this year we had around 40 people on the wait list who couldn't come. And so it'll just be nice to have that capacity, and then and then having all that space, it'll be a little bit less chaotic than it was this year where we had all these different venues, people driving around, because these two venues are pretty much a short walk from each other. They're just a few blocks from each other. So, but yeah, that'll be really exciting. I mean, imagine if we get a bunch of reflectors, what kind of aura experiments we can do then. So, but this year, in 2024, it will be starting on gate 6, line 4. And that was just coincidence. I wasn't planning that. That is the line that Ra calls the most intense emotional line of all. And I know people who have 6-4 in their incarnation cross, it can be really, really intense. I mean, it can just be like massive blast of emotion.
I can tell you the nodes will be 18 to looks like 17. So that's gate of correction to the gate of opinions.
Well, there'll be a lot of opinionated people, and it's going to be, emotions running high. But gate 6, line 4 is also called triumph. So hopefully it'll be a triumphant expression of emotion that day.
That
And
was
then
really
it goes into gate 46 after that too. So by the third day of the conference, we'll be in gate 46, which will be nice. Oh, your personality sun is gate 6, line 4, Nicola. Oh my God. So do you have any
Yes.
comments on the emotionality of the?
I'm still working it out. I have an open emotional center as well. So yes, and then 36, and I have 55.3 as well in my design moon. Yeah, it's It's really interesting to observe, honestly. I think because of the inconsistency with an undefined emotional center, it's sort of something I get to see play out.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah, it's
I had a very close friend and partner who was gate 2. Sorry, she's a 2/4 with gate 6 line 4 as her personality son. So, or design son. Sorry. This is what I get for trying to find this video while I'm talking. I can't multitask. I can't talk, and so I'm looking for this video on the line 4 of gate 6. I can't find it, but I'll post it later if I find it in the Discord chat. But yeah, and she also has an undefined solar plexus, and when that was activated, and I mean, it's there's a real purity of the confrontation of truth. I mean, it is called triumph, so it is like the triumph of the pure expression of emotion, which is great. But yeah, it's just, it can also just be a lot of emotion, just a lot of externalization of emotion. It's basically saying everything that's inside is going to come out. It's all coming right out. So one way or another, it'll come out, and it'll either come out cleanly, or it'll come out as nervousness. There's different ways it can come out. But
yeah, I definitely resonate with all that. It's a trip. But my ego does enjoy the triumph aspect of it. Oh dear. Oh dear. We
Do
observe
we
that
know
ourselves.
what planets exalt and detriment that line?
Which one?
Off the top of the head, the 6-4.
I could find that pretty quick.
Just
Should have the
curious.
I Ching open somewhere.
I'm suddenly glad to have the 6-5, even though it's designed
Sorely
Saturn
missed.
and yeah. As such.
6 line 4. Looks like the sun exalts that one. Triumph.
oh, wonderful. That makes sense, actually. That makes a lot
I forget the detriment. It's the symbol like this with a circle and the 2 arms up. I think that's
Is it probably
Pluto.
Mercury? Is that
Mercury?
Yeah.
Pluto?
it might be. I'd have to look it up.
It's like Venus with horns.
Yeah, I may have to excuse
Oh,
myself.
you got
I
it.
think I'm
Yeah.
being paged
That's
by
Pluto.
my.
Yeah.
I'm being
That's
paged.
Pluto.
Oh, it's Pluto?
Yeah.
Pluto.
Gotta go, guys. I'll catch up with you on the flip side.
Thanks, Roger.
Thank you.
Hi, Roger.
All right. Well, yeah, I have another 45 minutes or so to hang out, so I don't know what folks wanna talk about, but we could definitely. I can tell more Hoja jokes if we get really tired. I'm gonna open up a couple more packages. I do what Kierkegaard did, which is he would never open a letter on the first day. In fact, he would wait a few days or a week, and he would look at it and kind of try to imagine it, build the excitement. So I have mail, and I always kind of wait to open it because, it's more exciting that way. Oh my word! Oh, I know what this is. So this is just an extra copy. So I set alerts on eBay for finding any human design books that are affordable, and this posted for like $15 or something, so you can get these. Oh, you got yours there.
Nice.
Wonderful. I actually found one of these in a lending library here, and it was so funny because I almost didn't check it. I was walking with Von Paul, my good friend, and he said, oh, there's a lending library, and I said, oh, they never have anything good in that one. And he's like, well, there's a positive attitude. They never have anything good. Keep saying that. And I'm like, okay. So I walk over, and they had this. I mean, come on. So yeah. So no, it's a classic. I get extra copies because it's nice. They make good prizes at HD Trivia and stuff like that. So, which, by the way, we'll be doing a human design trivia this month for Signpost. I've never done it online before, so we'll have to see how it's actually going to work. But I've done them in person quite a bit, and they're a lot of fun. So
Yes.
yeah. I may enlist Mike to help me write some new ones, just in case people have caught the other human design trivia videos and so on. So we don't. We'll have to see, or maybe we'll just ask people like, "Have you caught the other ones?" Because we've done 2 Actually, three. We've done three sets of questions so far, and it's hard coming up with new questions all the time. We actually.
Some of the questions were really hard at the conference.
Yeah, that was, I mean, a combination of me and Mike. I think that's because it's our third time doing it. If we went back to the questions from the first time, I think that's part of it is like, we probably should go back to the earlier questions because it's just hard coming up with new questions. You know what I mean? So we end up
Sure.
digging for the deep cuts. We end up going for like, how old was Ra when he blah, 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 these kind of really obscure ones. But it did make it easier by having the answers be the team to get it closest wins. So if it was like a year, we would
Yeah.
just say the closest date wins, and those worked pretty well. Those were fun, but yeah, I enjoyed the trivia. So I'll have to work on that some. Some of them were just like, yeah, what town in Ibiza did Ra live when he was having his encounter with the boy? Like things that you really wouldn't know unless you've studied his biography pretty deeply. But the teams did pretty well. It was actually a tie by the end, so that at least tells me that the teams did. It wasn't like too off. Let's see what this is. Oh, this is a really wonderful book. So I actually ordered this. This is a book that Mike lent me. It's a manga I really enjoy. And I liked it so much, I ordered myself a copy. Then he told me I could keep the copy that he lent me. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's actually over there. I see it right now. So now I have two copies, but it's really good if you like manga. And most manga you can find online because of the copyright is different. And so Japanese copyright doesn't work outside of Japan a lot of times. And so, but yeah, it's really good. It's very existential. It's called The Man Without Talent by Yoshiharu Tsuge. And very existential. It's about a man who sells rocks. Very, if anyone's read Paul Auster, it has kind of a Paul Auster feel to it. So he's one of my favorite authors. Do y'all have any favorite fiction writers? Any favorite authors you want to share? Do you read fiction much? Anyone? I mean, it's okay. I read mostly nonfiction, but I do like a good novel.
I haven't read a novel in ages.
Well, start with
Been all
manga.
raw lately.
Yeah, if you start with, manga, it's a lot easier because it goes
Sure.
quickly. I really like Paco Ignacio Taibo. I'll write him in there. If you ever want, actually, it's Paco Ignacio Taibo the second. He's from Mexico City and does really amazing detective novels that are just really like rough and tumble and well written, almost like a Quentin Tarantino movie or something. They have elements of magical realism, but they're mostly pretty straightforward stories, and they're mysteries, crime mysteries, and they all follow this character, Hector Belascaran, who's like kind of the main detective, hard-boiled detective, in the classic vein, like a Dashiell Hammett or Humphrey Bogart figure. And they're just really, really good stories. They mostly take place in Mexico City. You get a real picture of Mexico City. And he's just, by all accounts, a total character. And it's funny because, so I met a guy, he was staying at my friend's house, and he was like in his 60s. This author is probably in his 70s now. And he was from Mexico City, and I was kind of hanging out with him all week, and I would be like, God, this guy is so cool. He has so many stories about Mexico City, seedy underbelly and criminals and just all of the nightlife there and all the stuff there. I'm like, he's so cool. I wonder if he knows Paco Ignacio Taibo, but I don't want to like be annoying, and I don't know. But finally I said, so I've been reading Paco Ignacio Taibo the second. He's great. Like I didn't want to I was a little nervous, I didn't want him to think. And he goes, I know him. And I'm like, you've read his books? He's like, no, I know him personally. And I said, what? You know him personally? Tell me. And he's like, yeah, you know that he actually got a job for the government. And I said, what? Paco Taibo got a job for the government? He's so like anti-authoritarian. I couldn't imagine, And he said, yeah, he's actually working with the youth ministry and Ministry of Culture for, education in the Mexican government. And I went to visit him. And I had to go down all these hallways, and finally I get to this back room, and the door is wedged shut, and he has to come and open it, and he's stuffed towels along the bottom because he's smoking. He says, quick, close the door. I'm not supposed to smoke in here. And he's like smoking his cigarette behind his desk. And he's still writing, but he collects a paycheck as this sort of figurehead for the Mexican government youth and culture ministry or something like that. But but I was just, really delighted that after a week I finally got up the nerve to say, like, do you know this guy? And he's like, I know him personally. Like, what are the chances? Come on. But he's a really amazing
wow.
writer. So if you ever want just a look at Mexico City's seedy underbelly, criminal crime drama, detective story, it's, really good stuff. He's really good. Really snappy, really funny writer. So
Cool.
yeah, well, that's who I haven't read too much fiction lately, but that's who I'll sometimes read if I just want to go someplace else, to go into a
Sure.
book.
I've been thinking about reading some more Roald Dahl. I watched his Wes Anderson does Roald Dahl shorts on Netflix.
Oh, I haven't seen those yet, but I heard they were really good.
They're
What?
very good. Very good.
Yeah.
But I wasn't familiar with all the stories. The Ratcatcher one I thought was really interesting. It had kind of a twist at the end, a little
Well,
bit.
don't spoil it for me if you
I
can.
won't.
Yeah.
But watch it. It's good.
Okay. Yeah. And I know. I mean, that's been on my list, but yeah, I don't really recognize any of his books besides his kids' stories. I'm looking through. He wrote a lot of books. Oh, he did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah. And Matilda, I think, was his.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
James and the Giant Peach, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Yeah, lots of famous kids' stories.
Little bit twisted. They
Mhm.
are.
Most kids' stories authors are, kind of. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
You know who I love is Ivor Cutler. I don't know if you know Ivor Cutler.
I don't.
Write his name in there. He's a Scottish kids story guy and also had a radio program, and he was a poet. Definitely an acquired taste. I mean, he has some interesting. I really like his stuff. Actually, I'm a big fan. So I
Cool.
yeah, he had a lot of kids stories and stuff like that too. But yeah, Cutler's great. Maybe I wonder if I have a. Okay, I don't see one. I have a big stack of books over there. I'm seeing if I have an Ivor Cutler I could read, since his stories are pretty twisted and fun, and they're all very short.
I like a twisted story. I like stuff that's a little bit off.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, his definitely are. We had him that day out in the park. I don't know if we actually read any of his stories. Let's see if I can find one online. Oh, I found him actually reading them. That's kind of fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. They have him on like lyrics.com. That's funny. I guess different. Okay, here's one. This is called Grets for Tea by Ivor Cutler. It's pretty short. Hello, Billy. Tea time. Grets for tea. Billy. Come on, son. Grets for tea. Fresh grets. Oh, I don't want grets for tea, Daddy. What? I went out specially and got them for you. Ah, but Daddy, we had grets yesterday. Look, son, I walked 7 miles to the high wood to get you grets. That's 14 miles in all, counting the journey back. And you don't want grets? I fried them for you. Fried grets. I fried them in butter. I don't want them, Daddy. Daddy, we've had grets for 3 years now. I'm fed up with grets. I don't want them anymore. Daddy, can't we have something else for tea? Oh, son, grets. They're lovely grets. Daddy, I don't want grets anymore. I hate grets. I detest them. I have them every day, and they're always fried in butter. Can't you think of another way of cooking grets? There's hundreds of ways of cooking grets. Boil them, or bake them, or stew them, or braise them. But every day, fried grets. Billy, come in for tea. And every day, Billy, fried grets. I've walked 14 miles, 7 miles to the Highwood and back, every day. Look what it's done to me, Daddy. Come here. Come into the bedroom and look at ourselves in the mirror, you and me. And they have like a picture of them looking all like weird and kind of emaciated. Now look at that. Yes, I see what you mean. Son, let's not waste these grets. Tomorrow I'll go to the Highwood and get something else. Look, Daddy, you've been saying this for 3 years now. Every day, the same thing. I take you to the mirror and you say we'll have something else. What else is there in the Highwood besides grets? Well, there's leaves, bark, grass, and leaves. Gruts are really the best, you must admit it. Yes, Daddy, I admit it. Gruts are really the best, but I don't want them. I hate them. I detest them. In fact, I'm going to take this pan full of gruts and throw them out. Oh, don't do that. Don't throw them out, for goodness sake. You'll poison the dog. And that was Gruts for Tea by Ivor Cutler. Thank you. So there are a bunch of little stories like that. I still don't know what gruts are, by the way. I imagine it's something he just made up, but I sure don't want them. They sound pretty bad, whatever they are. No gruts.
Oh, Gruts.
Yeah. I wonder his design. That's always, yeah, I don't usually look them up, but now I have an excuse. Maybe the next intro to keynoting we'll do Ivor Cutler. And, watch him be like a 6124 mental projector or something. These people who just...
Close taste, maybe. All
Yeah.
those Gruts.
Close taste. I don't want it. I won't eat it. Well, I've opened up all the packages. Anyone else have jokes they'd like to share? Any? Do you want to tell some of your human design jokes, Dave? Dave has some human design jokes. Wait, I think I remember the joke that you'd actually forgotten, though. Did I send it to you? What did the superhero say who came back? Am I telling it wrong already? Did I mess it up?
The action hero. What's the action hero?
Okay. What did the action hero say who came back as a 6'2"? This time it's transpersonal. Did I mess it up? That's Dave's original joke. I think I flubbed
So
it.
you really did do bad at that, yeah. Good.
I don't know your joke.
He was
He
reincarnated.
That's it. He was reincarnated. Okay. What did the action hero say who was reincarnated as a 6'2"?
It's not even like one of those like jokes that depends on delivery. It's literally just
But it's kind of elaborate. It's an action hero who's reincarnated. I mean, it's anyway.
sure. But that's all the keynotes are suggested by the punchline, so you should be able to
Okay.
reconstruct it.
Ah.
What do you call it? Reverse engineer. You should be able to reverse engineer the joke.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. Do you have any favorite jokes that aren't HD jokes, Dave? Any just like good jokes?
You know what? I don't. I have no go-to jokes. Like I remember, I couldn't think of a single joke right now, unless I did.
I can tell Mike's go-to joke. He has one joke. My good friend Mike. What do you call a fish with 3 eyes? Fish. Fish with 3 eyes? Yeah. That's like a dentist joke. That's like a joke the dentist tells the little kid.
That's an anti-joke
dad
based
joke.
on another joke. What do you call a fish with no eyes?
Oh, okay. I did not know that. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
see, I've never heard that one, so I've only heard this one. So to me, that's the anti-joke.
You should be a stand-up comedian. You should definitely.
Just so I can feel the pain of bombing, and so I will stop that. Just so you learn
Your whole
lesson,
thing
Jonah.
could be just like forgetting how to tell all your jokes.
You should be a stand-up comedian, Jonah, just so you learn your lesson. That's what you're saying.
Kind of like what do you call a fly with no wings? Similar sort of joke. A walk.
A walk? Oh.
Terrible.
Okay.
It's terrible.
What do you call a deer with no eyes?
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea. Oh my God. That's like a West Virginia joke. I have family from West Virginia. I gotta tell my uncle. He will love that joke.
There's a whole string of them. Then you do like, what do you call a deer with no eyes and no legs? Still no idea. What do you call a deer? There's like, and it keeps going and going.
I'm
like
sending it to him
7
right now. This is like one of the only reasons I go on Facebook is to message
Google
him.
it first, because
My
there's like a
family
whole
from West
there's
Virginia.
like a whole string of jokes.
I'm just gonna tell him.
And
the
also,
first
he
one.
knows them already. By the way, He
I
already
don't-
knows those jokes.
Okay.
Hmm.
No idea. Okay, I almost messed that one up too.
Also, it doesn't really work as a written joke, you know?
He'll get it, I think. I hope. I don't know. I just texted it to him. We'll see. We'll see if he gets it.
So where's everybody at? Like in the world?
I'm in
I'm in
Seattle.
Central
in Portland.
Texas over here.
Cool. Awesome.
I'm heading over North Carolina.
Nice.
Let's see.
Anybody else?
I missed. I'm just hearing a lot of sound. I muted Dave there because I was hearing a lot of noise from him. So Dave's in Austin. How about you, Casper? Where are you at?
Stavanger, Norway.
Oh, wonderful,
Wow.
wonderful. I have a friend who's in Norway right now. Travis Day. He was just doing his human design retreat out there. So very, very cool. And then Christine, I missed where you said.
North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina, wonderful.
I'm from Michigan, but I've been down here, so I'm here.
Whereabouts in North Carolina are you?
I am between UNC and Duke, so Chapel Hill, Durham, not far from Raleigh, kind of in the middle.
I have a friend out in Durham, so yeah.
Oh, cool.
I wanted to visit out that way some.
Come visit.
Yeah, let's do some HD out that way. And then and then I see an amazing collection of books, Marissa. I'm actually trying to see what they are. I'm trying to make it bigger.
It's like mostly my HD books. I got love card books and Gene Key books and I Ching books, astrology books, the whole
Good. I
thing.
recognized
All
a
the
couple
best
for
books.
sure. I love love cards, by the way.
Yes,
yeah.
they're so fun.
That's something we should talk about in a minute. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I
Where
love
are you
love
located?
cards.
I was going to ask where you're located though, geographically.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, Seattle.
Where?
Seattle.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yes.
You made it there. Right. Of course.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm putting it together.
Barely. I was really tired those last like 2 hours.
So you just unpacked those books. This is your new bookshelf then.
Well, no, I was already living here. It
I
was
see.
my husband that we moved to Salt Lake, and then I was coming back from
I
that.
see. So you've been,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I love Seattle and I spend a lot of time there. And yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see you in person one day, hopefully.
Absolutely.
When you're
I go
out
there a
this
lot.
way.
My mom's going out there just in a week, and I was almost going to jump out with her just to help her with a few things. She just moved to Santa Fe from there, but yeah, I don't know when I'll next be out there, but I love Seattle, and I can definitely. I mean, you've been there enough that you probably have a good.
I've been here for 20 years. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you know all your favorite places there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
But I could definitely tell you my favorite places too. Do you go to Hazelwood? You know Hazelwood?
Not often, no.
Okay, but
Yeah.
okay. See,
Yeah.
so I could tell you some good ones. How about Paseo? Do you go to Paseo? Or
Yeah.
That place is great. Okay.
Yeah.
How about Jar Bar down at Pike Place Market? Okay, sorry, we don't have to play this game too much, but I can send you. Yeah, if anyone goes to Seattle, I will tell you all places to check out. There's a lot of places.
Yeah.
So.
You probably have even more of an inside deal than I do. It's been a while since I've lived like downtown.
So you're doing the Define G thing, right?
Yeah, I definitely have my favorite places. I mean, they're just my favorites. They may not be your favorites, but yeah. And for downtown, there's not. So you're living downtown now? You're kind of in downtown.
No, I was saying I used to live downtown, but it's been a while since I've been kind of in that specific area to get taken all those kinds of neighborhoods. And every time I go down there, it's totally different.
Well, downtown's changing so much. I mean, I was amazed. Pioneer Square is now completely transformed. What part of town are you in now?
I am closer to, I'm in like a converging area where like SeaTac, Tukwila, Kent, and all those like converge. And I just happen, technically my address is SeaTac, but it's just like this one little sliver that comes way out and juts out. So it confuses people. Yeah.
My favorite spot down there is a restaurant and grocery store called Pabla for Indian cuisine. And they have not only great Indian food, lunch buffet, stuff like that, but they also have a grocery store and you can actually get like all of their Indian food just, for good prices as kind of grocery items. So
cool. I have to check that out. I've been trying to hit some Indian food around here, and I haven't really found one that I'm like, this is it, you know. But I'll
Look out
crave
for
any
Pablo.
like
I like Pablo.
Pablo.
Yeah, they're really good.
Check that out.
They're really, really good. Yeah. Well, so yeah, I found a few more Hoja jokes, but we can keep talking about places and travel. Anyone have fun travel coming up? Anything they're looking forward to? Big trips. I
I'm
really
going
want to.
back to Salt Lake.
Oh, you're going back to Salt Lake. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just for my birthday and hang out
Well, happy
for a
August
while.
birthday. Is your birthday coming right
Yes,
up?
thank you. On the 15th, yeah.
Oh, awesome. 9 days.
Yep.
Awesome, awesome.
hmm
Libra represent. I'm
The
going to.
big 40 as well.
Oh my
So
God, that's right. You're okay.
yeah.
So we're really on that
Yeah, we
same.
have the same design notes.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, very
You're
cool.
just a baby.
Well, I hope you have
It's a baby at 40. I'll take it.
Well, have a really, really good birthday. Do you have any big
Yeah.
plans in Salt Lake? Like going out for the night or?
Yeah, I'm leaving it to my husband to surprise me. We'll see. It'll surprise me if he does come up with something.
Oh, well, you can also,
But I did want to see on our way driving there, there's like an amusement park not too far out of Salt Lake. I was like, what? And I had recently been like, man, I would like to ride a roller coaster. I haven't been on a roller coaster in a while, so kind of thinking I might do that. Might be kind of fun. And then with it being October, you know, they have like the Halloween thing where they'll like run them backwards and like do all kinds of weird stuff like that. So I'm like, that could be fun.
now that sounds really good. And it is such a theatrical time. I mean, the nodes right now are such a theatrical time. So any kind of immersive theater thing you could do, or um, you guys could go out. You could take the train. Have you ever taken the train to Denver?
No.
It's really nice. The Salt Lake City train to Denver is so
Mhm.
beautiful, and you can just get the cheapest ticket. And then this is a little pro tip for Amtrak. You just sleep on the observation car because they won't bug you, and you can actually sleep out of aura on the observation car. Just like bring a good blanket, like a heavy blanket, and just sleep on one of the benches. You'll be
Oh, weird.
completely out of aura. Nobody will bother you. And if you do wake up in the night or anything, it's just like it's the observation car. It's really nice, and there's nobody below you either. So it's like not because the cafeteria is below, so you really are out of aura. But I've done that trip, and the Amtrak from Salt Lake to Denver is one of the most beautiful train rides in the whole country. It is just through the Rocky Mountains along the river the whole way. So
Oh,
you're just
wow.
amazing, beautiful views. And
How long
basically,
is that trip? Do you know? Off the top of your
yeah,
head?
you leave at around 1 a.m. from Salt Lake. It only comes once a day, and it
Mhm.
gets you to Denver around 5 p.m. the next day. So it seems long, but it's not really
Oh,
bad
wow.
because what you do is you basically just stay up and then you just sleep when you get on the train, wake up at 8 or 9, and then you basically just have like 9 to 5 or 9 to 4, something like that on the train. But it's not bad because you're looking out the window and you're doing
Sure.
stuff on the computer and reading, and it's really pleasant. It's so nice. I mean, right? Taking trains is such a luxury. And then you get to Denver and you're just in the city right downtown. And if you have a B&B or, a hotel or anything, you just can get there really easily and bop around Denver for a day or two, go see Meow Wolf there. The Meow Wolf, it's probably a really good time to see Meow Wolf because of the nodes being this whole like immersive theater thing. For those who don't know, Meow Wolf is an interactive art collective out of Santa Fe, but they've been spreading and they've created these different scenes, and it's very 2027 post-apocalyptic. Like, I won't spoil it, but I'll just say when you enter this place, it's 90,000 square feet on 5 stories, and depending which way you go, you'll take an elevator to one of the floors, and then you just have to find your way back. So like even like you just like choose your first path. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure. You're just
Wow.
choose your first path, and it takes you on a one-way elevator, and you might end up on the second floor, you might end up on the fifth floor. Who knows? You end up on a floor, and then you're in this 90,000 square foot kind of post-apocalyptic wasteland, wonderland playground of weird art, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really like the Denver one. It's the
What is
biggest.
that called again?
Meow Wolf, like
Meow Wolf.
a cat meowing. But yeah, that's something. I mean, if you have a chance to just take a train ride out, spend a weekend in Denver, check out some of the bookstores there, go up to Boulder. I like Boulder a lot too. And
We're thinking doing the old leaf peeping in Park City is supposed to be one of the best in the
I'm not
country.
familiar with that. What is it?
Hanifa lives there, right?
Oh yeah,
That
she
where?
does. Yeah, definitely. You
Oh,
should
she does.
Yeah,
Hmm,
she was
hit her
just
up.
on the chat earlier. You should definitely connect with her. She's totally awesome, and she has a great place, kind of very centrally located. She's a great mixologist and gardener and all these things, but she'll make you a birthday mixed drink for sure. So
Awesome. Very cool.
yeah, and
But
she
yeah,
has.
leaf peeping is just checking out all the fall
I
colors of
see
the
leaf
trees
peeping. Right,
turning.
there's just
Yeah.
so many leaves changing. Okay, I see what you're
Yeah.
saying. I didn't
Yeah.
make the
Fall's my
connection.
favorite time of year, not just because my birthday or whatever, but it's always nice and mild. Cuter clothes, in my opinion. I like the layers.
I love
So,
fall too. We have a really nice
mhm,
fall. Well, Seattle has an amazing fall, and then out here we also do because of the aspens, and they're all changing colors.
mhm.
Well, we could talk about cards of destiny. That's something. Does
Mhm.
everybody know their love cards, their cards of destiny?
Yes.
I know pockets. We figured out yours, right?
Ace of clubs.
Ace of clubs. Yeah.
Why I'm a 7 of clubs.
Okay. Trying to
I
think.
don't know what this is, and it sounds very interesting. I want to know
It's-
more.
What's your birthday?
September 18th.
September 18th.
Oh,
I'll
happy
pull it up
belated
right
birthday.
now.
Happy
Um,
belated birthday.
Thank you. Thanks.
is that the?
Pockets, was that Pickles?
That's the
No, that was
19th
Your
Artemis.
10 of
card. So
clubs,
that should be the
Casper.
six of diamonds,
You're
right?
a 6 of clubs.
Oh, six of
What
clubs.
is that?
That's right. Six of clubs.
Is it all
Oh,
clubs?
No, I
wait.
think we're just so far we're all clubs, I guess.
Well, but
Oh,
also
wow.
you guys are a sun moon relationship to each other in the spiritual spread, which is pretty cool. Six and the seven of clubs are like neighbors,
Mhm.
where the six is the moon card. Yeah, six and seven of clubs. I don't know too much about. I don't have that many of them that I know personally. I think a couple of the people in Sunny in Philadelphia are six and seven of clubs, like
Oh, really?
D and Mac. I'm pretty sure. I think he's the
That's
seven of
funny.
clubs. I'd have to check, but
And they're married, so maybe it's the moon card
yeah, it's
thing.
a sun moon
Yeah.
relationship. I remember that. I
Hmm.
remember when I researched that, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And then, of course, the guy who plays Dennis is an eight of diamonds, so that makes a lot of sense too. They're kind of
Oh,
just,
Dennis.
but basically, yeah, there's different ways of approaching it. I mean, I can here. I'll grab my book, and if you want to tell Nicola a little bit about, or do you say Nicola or do you say Nicola? How do you say it?
Nicola.
Nicola. Okay. Well, if you want to tell
Nicola.
Nicola a little bit about Six of Clubs, I'm going to grab my book and I can add to
Yeah,
that.
let me.
And what's it called again? Sorry?
The love cards or cards
Okay.
of destiny.
Love it. All right.
And so it's kind of like based or like the original tarot, so to speak, in terms of, before there was tarot, there were regular playing cards. And so all the suits are related to, clubs is actually related to air, kind of, and they each have, so they're all like can relate to the elements. Plus, there's a hierarchy of some sort too, where it's like hearts, clubs, diamonds, and spades, and they kind of go to kind of like in a seasonal way, so to speak. So like the hearts kind of represent your kind of childhood or adolescent period. The clubs are kind of like the teenage years, if you will, or young adult. And the diamonds are like your adults. Like again, it's based on like values and obviously financial money and that kind of thing. And then spades is more the senior years, the elder years, where you've gone through all of the ones below it. It kind of has that kind of hierarchy too. And so now you're here for this wisdom or to really dig in on all the challenges of life. I'm sure Jonah is much better at actually speaking or articulating things than
Interesting.
I am. Everything just kind of goes up in my head. But
Is that why I'm so adolescent?
I feel like a kid at heart all the time.
Like
I mean,
awful
yeah.
dirty jokes. Yeah. Okay.
Sure, why not?
So this is one of my favorite books on the cards, and
too,
this
yeah.
is by perhaps the most well-known contemporary scholar of the cards, Robert Camp, who's a reflector, actually.
Yep.
And he's a queen of diamonds, same as Mark Germain. They actually look kind of similar. And Also the same as Ra, interestingly. Ra was also a queen of diamonds. So let's
So
see.
I'm a king of diamonds.
King of diamonds. You're a king of
Yeah.
diamonds. Very cool.
Yes. Well, our birthdays are. My birthday is one day before Roz.
That makes sense then. Yeah, absolutely. That makes
Good
sense.
time for me to mention that I'm a Jack of Diamonds.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Ah,
yeah, Jack of diamonds. So Dave is the moon
see me a
card to
Jack,
Ra.
yeah.
Ra is the moon card to Christine. So, all right, 6 of clubs. Though outwardly very successful, the double Saturn influence of this card, by its position in the life and spiritual spread, belies the inner conflicts and struggles that the 6 of clubs often must contend with. Many have a fear of their own psychic ability because it's the Neptune Saturn mix. See, there's these spreads which basically are, you get positions, kind of the planets will be, there'll be a planetary row and a planetary column. And so 6 of clubs is in the Neptune row, but it's in the Saturn column. I'm also in the Neptune row, by the way. I'm a Queen of Hearts, and that's the double Neptune card. But and also, Queen of Hearts is the Venus card to 6 of clubs in the direct spread. So I play the role of Venus. So it's kind of, basically what it does is it gives you the relationship of every other card to your card. So you can kind of see like, okay, 6 of clubs is here, Mercury is the next one over, Venus is the next one over, and so on. And you can kind of count the spaces away, and there'll be different, So even though my role in the world is double Neptune, my role to 6 of clubs people is a Venusian role. But yeah, because it's the Neptune-Saturn position, they can fear their own psychic ability. It may take them a while to allow that to really open up. It's a powerful gift, however, and usually finds a way into their lives sooner or later. The number of 6 is connected to Saturn and represents the balancing of the scales of justice. All 6s are somewhat aware that their lives are governed by the law of karma. Combined with this double Saturn influence brings a warning to 6 of clubs. Be true to your word or pay the consequences. Some 6 of clubs will be well aware of this, others need to learn the old-fashioned way, through direct experience of the consequences. Just looking at their life spread, one would say, wow, what a fortunate card. The Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn cards are in the crown line. Yeah, it's true. Just like the Queen of Hearts is seen as fortunate because when they're at the bottom of the spread, then the next cards in their spread are in the crown line, which is the top of the spread, and those are kind of the most exalted cards on what's called the sun line. But the Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn cards in the crown line are all very powerful, and it's true that a good majority of 6 of clubs go out and do something incredible with their lives, often achieving much recognition in the world. So it can be a rise from the bottom to the top regarding money, success, and fame. Yeah, all 6s are very karmic, so they have a sort of karmic quality to them. So I guess you could say, started from the bottom, Drake. That would be a good song here.
Now you're here.
Yeah. Now my whole crew is here. My whole crew is here. All right. Many 6 of clubs
Love it.
feel the need for a deeper meaning in their life if they're really to enjoy these gifts. It's the missionary card in the deck, often called the John the Baptist card or the Wayshowers card. Their mission involves getting the word, the clubs, out to the needy, lost souls of the world. All that gets in their way is their own complacency. Being a 6 makes one complacent to begin with. But their 6 of spades Mercury, which really sets the character of the 6 of clubs, doubles both. Oh, and that's actually your ruling card as a Virgo. So that's your planetary ruling card. So the 6 of spades, you're kind of a double 6. You're a 6 of clubs with a 6 of spades planetary ruler. That's the Mercury card. So that kind of, it doubles both the good and bad of the 6 energy. On the good side, the 6 of clubs is highly psychic, peace-loving, tuned into others, competitive, compassionate, determined once they get started. On the other hand, they have difficulty getting started, are sometimes cold and aloof in personal relationships, can hold grudges, can be stubborn, and out of touch with their feelings. Yeah, all clubs have to kind of work on feelings because it's such an intellectual suit. But some of the world's greatest leaders, both politically and spiritually, have 6 of clubs as their birth card or planetary ruling card. The 6 of clubs seem to know they have a purpose to fulfill. Saddam Hussein is a 6 of clubs. Well, what? Why would he choose him as a what? And although we may not agree with his purpose or his means of achieving it, there's no denying the strength of his vision. Okay, Robert Camp. Was this written in like 1992 or something? Is this like his topical political thing? Anyway,
Triumph, eh?
Yeah.
a good card for the 6 of clubs to marry is a 2 of diamonds because they share a double Jupiter connection. How is that? Oh, I see. They're in the vertical spread. They are each other's Jupiter card. Nice.
I do love Jupiter. He's my ruling planet.
Oh my word! Oh,
Cool.
wonderful. Well, we have to see if there's any 2 of diamonds in your life because they will be Jupiter.
Ooh.
They're mutual Jupiter in the vertical spread. That's great.
But
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to get Saturn to balance it out, the Saturn glyph somewhere, and I just don't know where. I know the middle finger is the Saturn finger, but it's funny that you say that it's the double Saturn line, and I have Saturn in my 44, which is in my only channel. I have 3 44 activations, both Saturns and my design Mars.
And you don't
And
want
then
to
my
get Saturn as the middle finger? You said that's the finger that is Saturn?
well, balance and symmetry is also important. So that's another consideration. Like, do I get it on the other hand? Do I get it,
I see.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
I would get stuck on that too.
Well, if you do get it as your middle finger, you can. I was watching a show last night, and the person said she held up 3 fingers and said, "Read between the lines," and it was pretty good. The 3 fingers. You can do that, and it'll be like extra punch because of Saturn. So, read between
Yeah,
the
extra
lines, okay?
punch. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Well, yeah. It
I
says,
also like the idea that you could
yeah.
backhand Saturn.
Yeah, backhand Saturn. I'm the fist of Saturn. I'm the slap of Saturn. Well, yeah, it seems like 2 of diamonds, that's the mutual Jupiter, and then 8 of diamonds are your direct Jupiter card. So that could be people that bring a lot of joviality into your life. That's my planetary ruling card. So I'm a Queen of Hearts, but then 8 of diamonds is my ruling card.
Hey, you guys, real quick, I'm gonna drop out. I'll see you guys
okay.
soon.
Yay. Okay, well, thanks for joining.
Goodbye.
Okay.
I just realized what time it is, and my friend is actually picking me up at 4:30, which is in 3 minutes in my local time here. So I'll drop out too when he gets here. I'll see if he'll say hi first, and if anyone still has time to hang out a little bit. It's Ray, so I know you've met Ray Pockets, but he's a master of the cards, and if we get him to, it'd be fun if we can get him to comment on anybody's card and tell them a few things. Do we know your card, Casper, or do you have any interest in knowing your card, or could we? Wonderful.
Cool.
The 10 of clubs. A lot of clubs here.
Oh, clubs.
Yeah.
It is clubs. Hey.
I have a lot of connection to the 9 of clubs. One of my best friends, Von Paul, is a 9 of clubs, and then Jen Cole is also a 9 of clubs, and 9 of clubs is my karma card. It's the, I guess what they would call my soul card, depending on what vocabulary you use. So I have a lot of connection to the clubs, and that's.
My father is 9 of clubs. Yeah.
Oh my word! So he's your moon card. How wonderful is that? That's really interesting. Well, maybe we can read a little bit about that one. Yeah, 9s of clubs can be so sharp and so powerful, and part of it, like all the 9s, they have so much power, like the 8, but they have to learn not to use it. They can have such a scathing, quick wit, but they have to learn to kind of. They're learning how to be gentle in this life. Their karma card's the Queen of Hearts, so they're learning how to be more heart-centered. And I found that with Jen Cole, I've talked to her about it, that she's so quick and so sharp, but just it's like they could completely demolish the other person, but they learn to be gentle and have empathy instead. So.
Well, the 9s are also endings of 9s are endings. So it's because when you start over with 10, or when you go to 10, it's basically like 1 again, and so they have a lot to deal with in terms of like cycles and ending things.
Cycles.
Yeah.
10 is the card of mental success, the teacher card. And what Robert Camp writes is, what a fortunate card to be. The 10 of clubs has the power and the mental ability to accomplish most anything they desire. The only problem is what they desire. What do they desire? That's the real problem. They can accomplish any of it, but they have 3s. Oh, I see. They have a 3 of hearts in the Mars position. and then they have a 3 of diamonds in the Pluto position. So each card has its own spread, right? You're looking
Yeah.
at, this is kind of the master spread called the life spread. And then, you're right there at the top in the crown line. So it's a very, very lucky, good. I mean, it's in the sun position. It's actually the sun Mars position. So it's really a good position to have. But in its spread, it has a couple of 3s. And I have a 3 of hearts in my spread as well, because you're actually so I'm your moon in the mundane spread. The Queen of Hearts is right next to the Queen of Hearts is at the very bottom, but then the 10 of Clubs is right at the top, but it kind of wraps around. And so anyway, all that means is with the 3s, and I know about this as well with my 3 of Hearts in my spread, there can just be a lot of indecision. 3 of Hearts, if you think of 2 of Hearts as like the couples card, or 4 of Hearts as the marriage card because it's so stable, 3 of Hearts is kind of like, well, I could, or maybe I couldn't, or that could work, but this might also work. It's, well, I'm
Okay.
in, I kind of want to get out.
Yes.
Yeah, there can be a lot of change. It can be a lifelong question of what do you really desire. So, and this card has a tremendous positions. Sitting in one of the 3 crown line positions, they usually gravitate to higher positions. Many times the 10 of clubs can be found in an artistic field due to the creativity of the 3s. Yeah, anytime you have a 3 in your spread, and in your case you have 2 3s, the 3s can really be alleviated through giving them a creative output because they're such creative cards. But when you try to get them to settle down and not have that constant change and creativity, it can just be stifling, right? Like a 2 is totally happy having that stability. A 4 is very happy having that. But the 3 needs to have that variety, that creative tension. So, yeah. Let's see. They also have Jack of Spades as their first karma card and a King of Spades in Venus. The King of Spades is the most powerful card in the deck. So that doesn't hurt their chances of success in an artistic field. You can kind of dominate in artistic fields because you have that King of Spades, Venus. What seems to set all the crown line cards apart from the rest of the deck is that they're very independent. They never allow anyone to tell them what to do or when to do it. They work themselves up to a high position until there are few, if any, people above them to decide their fate. They seem to know they can have and do anything they want. For this reason, they're a lot like a child in a candy shop with too much money to spend. Making the choice to focus on one area alone can be something that's hard for these people to do. This is due to their strong creative drive as well as their independent nature. If they get involved in the arts or in creative expression, this uncertainty factor is considerably reduced. And if they feel called to do something great, they move to the top quickly and surely. Then it goes on. The love life of the 10 of clubs can be one of the worst in the deck. All those qualities that make them so good in their careers work against them in the area of love. It's not that they do not have love in their life. They have lots of love in their life, or at least lots of lovers. Some get married, but few have happy, successful, long-term marriages. Well, it really depends what you want and if that's something. I mean, it's really just. I tend to think we've incarnated with the suit and the card and so on that best suits us. And also, I mean, you and I have almost identical spreads because the Queen of Hearts is 1 card before the 10 of Clubs. So we have all but 1 card in common for our spread. So much of this is true for Queen of Hearts as well. But yeah, this is a very masculine card. It's a 10, which is an ace, the most masculine of numbers, and the first karma card, the Jack of Spades, is also masculine. Add to that the independent nature and uncertainty factor. So it can be, this card can be great at going out and getting what they want, lovers included, but just how deep their relationship may be is questionable. So it's really just saying kind of, you can have anything you want, but to really realize that there may be, with those 2 3s in the spread, there can just be, the need for change, the need for variety, and so on. Yeah. And the cosmic reward is the Ace of Spades, the most mystical card in the deck. That's pretty cool. Very cool.
What's your take on cards using your incarnation date or your design date?
I haven't done that yet, but Mark Germain has been doing that, and I would love to know. I mean, I'm definitely interested. It does seem to have more to do with the personality, because when Ra asked the voice about the cards, he asked about tarot in particular, but he asked about the cards, and that's one of the few questions he asked. And the voice actually said that they had to do with incarnation sequencing, that it wasn't for divination, it was more about past lives and your current life and your reincarnations and so on. And that has to do with the personality date, because that's when the personality crystal, well, that's when it's imprinted. And so because of that, when you, like in all of Ra's incarnation sequencing materials, he looks at the personality, he looks at the personality line. But I mean, it does have a design also. It's just that he doesn't really look at the design. It's kind of like asking about the design base a little bit. Like, yeah, the base, there is a base on the design side, but when you're looking at the incarnation sequencing, you're really looking at the personality side, because that's the eternal soul, so to speak. But I mean, it is an interesting question of, depending what time of day you're born, you're going to have a different card on the design side. So somebody who's, I mean, I don't think all 5/1 cross of healing like me are all going to have the same card on the design side, because depending what time of day it was, because the card system is based on the date, not on the astrology. But then that's also kind of an interesting area, because when you get close to midnight, like, do you have qualities of both cards, or how does that work? That's kind of an open.
Yeah, I've been running into that a lot. It's very tricky.
Yeah.
And then it's like, is the time zone thing a thing? You know, like,
Right.
is
It's a good
it?
question of how
Yeah.
does, so I mean, the main thing that the way I've understood the cards is that they work similar to numerology, and that really there's two sets of numerology that are both very important. One is the minor arcana of the tarot, which translates into this system, and then the other is the major arcana, which is the same as the Chaldean tablets. Because the major arcana don't really fit. Like, you can't say which one of these is the magician or which one's the lovers.
Right.
But the major arcana do fit with Chaldean numerology. So anybody who's interested in doing a Chaldean numerology report, let me just put it in the chat here. There's a really good website called numerologytoolbox.com. And I mean, it's very, very deep. Let me just paste this in really quick. That's something I'd be into, having a special group on Chaldean numerology one day where we just all interpret our charts and so on. I just pasted it into chat. But the Chaldean numerology fits very closely to the major arcana, where it's a whole system where the numbers relate to the planets, and then there's planetary archetypes. So basically, to me, that really unlocks what the major arcana is that there are different versions of the planetary archetypes, where one is the sun, so the magician or the magus is the first card that represents the sun. The higher octave, 10, 0 is the cosmos, so that's the cosmic sun. 1 plus 0, that's the wheel, and so that's another sun symbol. And then 19 is the one we actually call the sun, but that's technically sun with Mars, because 9 is Mars. And in the Chaldean tablets, all three of these were kind of versions of the sun, or octaves of the sun. Then you get to 2, and that's the moon. And then the next moon is 11, and the next moon is 20, and so on, and they're kind of octaves. And then so you keep going. 3 is Jupiter, and 4 used to be Saturn. Now they consider it Uranus, because it's been replaced, basically. They used to have 2 Chaldean tablets for Jupiter and 2 for Saturn. Now they have 1 for Jupiter, 1 for Neptune, 1 for Uranus, 1 for Saturn. You know what I mean? The same way that astrology replaced Aquarius used to be Saturn, now it's Uranus. Pisces used to be Jupiter, now it's Neptune. So similarly, the Chaldean tablets have this sort of way of being read, and it's really interesting, and to me, it actually decodes the major arcana. The minor arcana work very differently, and they contain all of the math of the year. And that's what blew my mind when I started getting into the cards. Because at first I thought, okay, cards are kind of like a parlor trick or something. But then, okay, there's 4 suits, there's 4 seasons. There's 13 cards per suit. There's 13 lunar months. There's 3 court cards. There's 3 months per season. I mean, you can like find all these. And then one of the most interesting ones is that the Joker, because it was not in any of the quarters, was considered to have a spot value of 1.25 by the mystics. And this value of 1.25 is very relevant when you add up the numbers of every single card in the deck, except for the Joker, and they add up to 364. Like, you just add ace plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 all the way up through all the suits. 364. You add the Joker, it's 365.25, the exact number of days in a year. So it's really interesting how encoded within the playing cards, what we call the playing cards, right, are all of these mathematical properties that relate to the annual cycle. I'm going to paste in a PDF of my favorite book on this topic. It's called The Mystic Test Book. Long before we called textbooks, they were called test books. I think textbook was kind of something that, I don't know. It's funny. I mean, test book makes more sense. This is the book you read and have a test or something, right? But a textbook is kind of like word book, you know? It's a little funny. But anyway, I'm going to paste this in. This is the Mystic Test Book, also known as the Mystic Textbook. And yeah, I see your comment there, Christine. Absolutely sacred geometry encoded in that. But yeah, this is a Only Richmond book. And yeah, he was just fantastic. Really, this is where most of the Robert Camp and other, you know, Sharon Jeffers and kind of other cardology people got their info from. So pretty incredible book there. I just pasted it in.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, I just messaged Ray. He is almost here. I don't want to keep anybody, if they do have other plans, but if you want to hang out for a minute and have Ray tell you about your card, he is joining momentarily. I don't want to put too many expectations on him in case he just is tired and wants to do something else, but he said he'll be here. He messaged me about 15 minutes ago saying on his way, so he should be here any minute. And Ray is somebody who, he mostly does tarot readings, but he also is very adept in the cards. But he has a great way of analyzing the tarot. He does something called a swirl, where you got a swirl, right, Pockets? Did you get one by the end? Yeah.
Yeah.
What can you say about his swirl? They're pretty intense, right?
Well, it's intense, and he did. It was it felt like he was weaving together the tarot and the cards of destiny. But he would like take whatever your destiny card was and kind of apply the themes of the tarot card to you. So it felt very, very, everything felt very personal. But what I liked about the swirl aspect of it is that it's like everybody's reading was still kind of, for me, at least it felt that way. Like the themes were like little pieces of it for all of us that were there.
Universal.
No, it's so true. Yeah, it synchronistically works out to where whatever anybody's hearing, and also that anyone can comment or chime in on anyone else's reading. So you have a big pile of cards and everyone picks one, and then we kind of go around and when somebody's like, it's my turn, it's kind of your turn. And but as he's giving the readings, there's a lot of important, I mean, he frames the whole thing in terms of healing, which I know in a lot of human design circles we can say healing is such a seven-centered concept and this and that, but not really. I mean, most of the healing literature really hit the heyday with the discovery of Chiron. Jung, who made a huge deal about healing, developed most of his theory in the early 1900s, very nine-centered. So, it's not like, obviously I'm across of healing. I'm going to be a little biased here. And obviously there's also going to be some seven-centered modalities that say, this is how you heal, and that are kind of mired in an older way of being. But I don't know. I don't mind somebody saying, hey, this is for spontaneous healing. That's what we're doing here. We're working through triggers people have. And there's a lot of not self triggers, believe me. I mean, there's a great PDF I found when I was first getting into human design that was all about the triggers of the not self. And it devastated me. Like, I wouldn't have got human design as much if I couldn't see so clearly, wow, when somebody tells me I'm wrong, immediately my undefined ego is like, no, I'm not, you're wrong. And like, it's like a puppet, and being triggered in that way. Yeah, we can talk about it mechanically. We can also talk about it in terms of healing, that needing to heal the traumatic trigger response. I mean, I don't talk a lot about trauma, but I don't mind when people do, because to me, that's just a vocabulary that is also valid. It's just not one that I've used as much, and he doesn't really even talk about trauma. He just talks about spontaneous healing, like the need to heal from wounds. We've been wounded in the past, and we have these triggers, and so he will really, really trigger people sometimes. I mean, that's something Ray is really good at. I don't know an explanation for that other than he's a cross of tension. So I think that helps. Being on a cross of tension. He's a 731 alpha projector. And here he is. Oh my word. Ray.
Welcome.
Hey, doing good. Do you mind, can I give you a seat here? Oh, would you need a couple of my
Sure, love to. Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, just have
Hi,
a seat.
Ray.
Right there?
Yeah, right there. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Do I know any of these people?
You know Pockets.
Hey, Pockets, how are you?
Hi, Ray.
Nice to see
I'm
you
great.
again.
You too.
Now I got my
Hello.
glasses on. I actually recognize you.
I'm gonna grab my seat.
One of my favorite Ace of Clubs, I think you were.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Hey, and what's on the right? I can't tell which position, but if you would, tell me your name. Hello.
Hi,
Which
I'm
one?
Marissa.
ARSA?
Yes, Marissa. Yes.
Oh, Marissa.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'd love one. Yeah, Joan and I are just getting ready to go out and have an interesting time.
Yeah, we're gonna go out and do a little happy hour and go on a gallery crawl. But I thought maybe you could. Oh, and you have a copy of your book.
This is
Wonderful.
finished and complete.
Oh my word! This is a
Uh,
book.
Wow.
I finally got it. First of all, it was finished. Then it was completed. And then it was done. And now it's a raging, energetic, transformational force.
I bet.
Let me grab a chair. I love it.
How do I get a copy?
Yeah.
How do you get a copy?
Yeah.
I'll send it to you. Just give me your address and you can send me with postage. It's $25. I'll be glad to send it to you in the mail. It's finally completed and finished, and it even mentions human design and has human design in the glossary. Because I've learned so much from human design in my several years of looking at it since 1995.
Yeah, you have some old. I've seen your old. He has all these actual original hand printed kind of binders and so on. And
However, I never paid too much attention to it because I was studying cards and I was studying astrology and I was trying to make a living and I was traveling all over the country giving lectures. And so I didn't pay too much attention to human design until the last year and a half. And I'm so glad I did, because I find it to be one of the most beneficial ways that a person can find supportive, emotionally, physically, and spiritually definitions for their energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's really what the search is, And for me, the search was, how do I love myself? Because I didn't.
Sure.
I projected so much negativity at times in my life, I wanted to shoot myself. But through the process of surrender of ego, and it wasn't a surrender of ego, it was a management of ego that allowed ego to participate in the ways that helped me and disallowed ego to participate in ways that hurt me. So ego was what taught me how to no longer self-sabotage by managing and actually loving ego. There's Eastern thought that says there's an ego death. I haven't found that to be true. What I've found the best case scenario is ego management. And it's like this whole other awareness that operates inside of me, parallel to who I am. And I just have to have an interface with it to make sure that it stays managed in a way that's going to give me the most success. And since I did that, I've been far less resentful.
a successful projector, what we all like to see.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I am a projector, without a doubt. And
What's your
this
authority?
is my generator.
Yeah.
And I've never met a person that supports me so willingly and makes it possible for me to be invited, as you see right here.
Yeah.
But anyway, somebody said, what's my sign?
I said, what was your authority?
My authority?
Splenic.
Splenic.
A split. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I made my fortune making quick decisions.
Yeah, I can share Ray's whole chart after this too. And I was gonna say I don't know how much energy everyone else has. I mean, I'm fine. I'm a generator, but we've all been talking over an hour and a half. But if you want to maybe tell them a little bit about their cards, if anybody wants.
Sure, if you'd like to have a
I have
reflection.
a question.
And what's your birthday?
Oh, she knows.
Oh, what are
My
you?
card is a 7 of clubs.
Oh, yeah, I'm believe it or not, your spiritual Venus card.
Oh
So
yeah.
I can't help it if you love me.
I feel like I already do, so that makes sense.
Well, see how quickly that energetic is. It doesn't require any postage. It
Right.
doesn't require any airwave. It just requires a moment just to understand that here is an energy that is going to be supportive for me, and only good things can come from it,
Right.
and will grow. And that's
So my Venus
Venus
card is
does.
the Queen of
What?
Spades, right? You're a Queen
Huh?
of Spades then?
Yes, I
Are
am.
you?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So that's my planetary ruling card also.
Oh, so you know.
in my
So you know the
Because
cards.
she's a Libra. Her birthday.
Oh, you're
next
a
week.
you're a
Yeah.
Libran?
Her
I
birthday.
What
am,
day?
I am. 10/15.
Oh, 10/15.
Coming right
Yeah.
up.
Uh-huh. Well, happy birthday to you.
Thank
And
you.
I have a Libran moon.
Okay.
And my Neptune is at 12 degrees Libra.
Mhm.
And so I can be dazzled by anybody that has a birthday close to that.
I believe my Mercury on my astrology chart is at 12 degrees Libra. Exactly.
Uh-huh. So you got more
So
than
that's
one
funny.
planet in Libra.
Oh, yes. My
Okay,
spleen,
well,
I'm a reflector, but my spleen is otherwise lit up.
oh, no kidding. I
Yeah.
volunteer to be your friend.
Please. I'd love that. Yeah, no,
So,
I actually kind of had a question, if you didn't mind, kind of a specific question about the cards. I turned 40 this year, so last year was my 39th, and I know that's the beginning of the Jupiter period. And my Jupiter period is the 9 of Diamonds. And so I was wondering if you had anything particular you could say about that, or what I might be experiencing or looking for, or not looking for, but what that means.
when you're in full integrity, expect wealth.
Okay.
If you're in a place that I'll say finances or your wish to in some manner influence, you can number one expect good success in that area. However, if there is an agenda that is tied to a let's call it a non-self thread, then you are one of the best storytellers that can convince people to walk through the desert without shoes, and you can take their shoes and sell them to somebody else. They're wheelers and dealers. I will
Sure.
tell you too, these two people
Mhm.
are 9 of Diamonds. This is a 9 of Diamonds period for you.
Mhm.
This is
Sure.
not definitive of your particular card birth scenarios, but
Mhm.
in this period, you get to look at the difference between the saint and the sinner within you.
Okay.
Two of the most well-known 9 of Diamonds in the world are George Bush Jr. and Barack Obama.
Oh,
And
interesting.
their interesting part is one of the negative sides of the 9 of Diamonds is try to figure out how to get other people's money so that they can enhance their own world from a very narcissistic place.
I have a comment on that
Yeah.
too. I know two 9 of Diamonds very well, and I have a good connection to both of them. I think Robert Camp calls them the yard sale card because at their best, they are letting go of money. The 9 is all about endings and letting go. But
Right.
see, so many 9s have such a hard time. Like I was saying with 9 of Clubs, having been an 8 of Clubs or having that 8 of Clubs kind of innately of being so powerful, giving up all that power. 9 of Diamonds also is kind of learning to give up all of that wealth, and both of them have so much money. One actually made $300,000 last year. The other was just selling her house for almost $1 million. They're very wealthy people, but can be very worried about money and clutching to money and concerned. And I'm like, what are you concerned about? Like, you guys have more money than I can imagine. I mean, I have 8 of diamonds ruling card, but still, like, that's the appearance, but it's not quite the same thing. But you know, but the 9 of diamonds, so concerned and so worried and saying, well, I don't know if I'm going to get enough for it, or that's not going to be. It's like, no, like, it's okay to buy something really expensive and sell it for cheap. You're doing them a favor. It's okay to sell your belongings that are so precious and give somebody else who's young and might not have that same opportunity. That's actually a really nice thing to do. So I think at its highest, 9 of diamonds is about, yeah, it has a lot of money, but it's also about letting go of that.
Generosity.
It's a very generous card, or it's meant to be generous. It's learning how to be generous, to let go of holding on to the power of money and material.
It's a double-edged sword of generosity.
But being Jupiter, it's got to be. I mean, first of all, that whole Jupiter phase being in diamonds, I do agree that could be a time of really a lot of wealth. And, and we have to remember that diamonds are also values and integrity and responsibility and kind of the high.
And for a 9 of diamonds in particular, there'll be lifelong lessons concerning their handling of financial matters, not only for themselves but for others. And I have known financial advisors that are 9 of diamonds, and they didn't know enough to make money. They only knew enough of how to take my money. So the saint or the sinner, period, for you.
Okay.
And
with that.
as far as I'm concerned, it's okay to be both, but karma will have the final say.
Sure. Sure. Thank you for that.
Well, we were talking a little bit about 10 of clubs earlier. Do you have any comments? That's Casper here. Do you have any?
Casper, are you 10 of clubs?
Yeah, and he's in Norway now.
You are?
Yeah.
Well, 10 of clubs have been, over the years, some of my favorite people because they're a mind card with empathy, with empathic sensitivity. They are the perfect empath because they have a nature that is really kind at the same time of having a advanced capacity for what you would call mental things, for science or for mathematics or for finance or for putting together a business or all these different kinds of things. They can be a very good entrepreneur in those areas, but they also have a kindness to them that you don't usually find in some of the other clubs. Do you have a connection with people in that manner, Casper?
My family.
Your family?
Yeah.
How many children do you have?
2.
2?
One project, 2-4, Cross of Eden, and a Swings. Both in civilization.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing human design?
3.5 years now.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you're moving in that direction. How have you found it helpful?
Oh, where do I start?
Give me just one or
the
two.
breathing.
What?
Just learning how to breathe.
Knowing how to breathe.
That's correct for me. Like, yeah.
So uninhibited, without resistance.
My breathing changed a lot too. I'm a 12, so my breathing changed from like gulping and having asthma to like being a lot more relaxed. And I do something called Buteyko breathing, which is I kind of had to learn how to breathe. I realized I didn't really know how to breathe right in a healthy way.
And so how for you, what insights did you get from human design that assisted you in a more non-resistant kind of breathing?
It calms me down so I don't get off and lose it.
Yeah, something I found 20 years ago. You're explaining something I exactly found some 20, 25 years ago when I started playing with cards and I've been doing astrology for 50 years. But
Mm.
what I found was when I actually have the opportunity to meet, greet, and love my energy in a way that I know what it is, then I don't have to worry about all the other stuff that I'm not.
Mm.
And that really relaxed me and allowed me to see into one of the hardest things for us to do is to see into self. And that's what these systems have helped me to do, is to understand that's the way I am, and that's the way the energy wants to express itself, and it's not necessarily that way for everybody else. So I
Yeah.
kind of learned my own uniqueness, and which relaxed me.
Well, and it's funny because being a cross of tension, I was saying earlier, you know, well, you can provoke people, and that's part of your design. And
I do.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And at the conference, some people got pretty provoked here and there, but it was great. I mean, it was exactly what was needed at that time, was that getting stirred up. And then also, I just noticed how relaxed you are, and that's something Ra would say about the cross of tension, which is they need to get the tension out into other people. Like, hey, what's going to happen? You know, are you going to do it or not? It's kind of like give them a little push to be like, this is it. This is your life. Are you going to make the choice? Or are you not? Are you going to do this? Or are you going to not do it? Are you going to be there? You know, it's kind of just provoking a decision in some way.
It's a dangerous person that reads your cards that has the cross of tension. Look out.
Well, but you yourself are so relaxed, and it's funny because earlier this year I was at the Pura Vida retreat, and we were doing the true self keynoting of all the crosses. We were saying, what would the crosses be called in their true self? And that what we came up with was the cross of tension would be the cross of relaxation, because they've got all their tension out so they can be relaxed. And that's you. It's like you get it out continually so you can relax.
Yeah, well, what this is my way of taking things that are of an extreme tension for me, extreme concern for me, and being able to translate that concern and tension into a positive expression that will help encourage not only within me, but others' self-love. I find the biggest disappointment, and I even have Ra's statement about it right here on the inside, about his disappointment in seeing how little self-love there is in humanity. And so I've taken that tension or that deficit of not, when I was 7 years old, I used to walk downtown alone, and I would say hello to everybody I crossed, which might be passed, coming in an opposite direction on a sidewalk. And I became very disappointed because only 50% of the people would say hello back to me when I said hello to them. And I just didn't understand that. You know, people are so inside themselves that they don't even have the capacity to say hello to a cute little 7-year-old as he's walking past them. I realized right there that I wasn't really knowing how the world was, and that I felt a real disappointment that there weren't better people in the world. And that's kind of what has motivated me to have to dig into the places that I could operate in a manner of grace and a manner of trust and a manner of kindness, and and gratitude is like a big thing on the list. And so when I was 7 years old, these people that didn't say hello to me caused me to have to look into myself as to figure out how it would be possible to have a kinder world. And that's actually, as I read this book, that's kind of what it is about. Because at 7 years old, I realized to have a better world, we need better people. And the people that I was meeting oftentimes were very disappointing to me.
Sure.
They didn't share my enthusiasm for, community and kinship and sharing energy. One of the things I like more than anything is to surf in and out of other people's energy. Not to steal it or abscond with it or to turn it into some sort of manipulation without me telling them what it was, but just to play. And that always
can
renews me
happen.
back to my childhood.
It's definitely.
Well, do we have any other, anyone else want to hear about their cards a little? I know Christine is a king of
King of
diamonds.
Diamonds?
That's kind of an interesting one. She's a king of diamonds here.
Oh my. Let me ask you right now.
Uh-huh.
Is this uh, a challenging time for you?
A challenging time.
In
I
a way
don't
that
know.
you have to come face to face with who you are and in the ways
Well, I
that
have a
your conditioning and programming has sometimes put you in a false place.
well, I have a wide open G center, so I have no idea who I am.
You have
But
no
that's
idea.
okay, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So I'm like barreling towards my Uranus opposition in June of next year. I'm apparently a late bloomer. It gets it in 44. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe.
Uh-huh. Do you find yourself moody at all or not?
My I have the 59-6, but it's unconscious. So I don't know when I'm being moody until someone's like crying on my massage table or something. So
Uh-huh.
yeah. But
So
I don't I mean
are you a massage therapist?
that's one of my things, yes.
That's how you make a living oftentimes?
For the most part, yes. I'm a
Oh,
touch
cool.
cognition.
Well, so
Woo-hoo.
when you have people on the table,
Uh-huh.
I don't know exactly what an open G center means, but do you take on their energy or not? Would-
I don't know. Maybe probably.
Yeah, the open G, so he has a defined G with the 731. The undefined G center is just very kind of can be chameleon like. It's described as that way. It can be really taking in the environment deeply and then taking in the direction of the group or of people that are, or even just the partner sometimes. The
Identity.
wisdom of the undefined G is to really be discerning of who you really like and who takes you to the right places and who are kind of your compasses in life. And then the undefined G, when it's lost and hasn't really found that, is kind of trusting the wrong people. So they're being led to places where they're physically really uncomfortable, but they're kind of putting up with it. I have to put up with it because this is just, what I get. This person's my partner, my family member, my friend. I have to put up with, even though I'm really uncomfortable here, this is just kind of where I'm supposed to be or something. And so I think when they, at the most exalted form, the undefined G is really comfortable with being a prince among princes and being a pauper among paupers and being kind of the group you're in, while not allowing any one group or person to dominate your life direction. Because there can be, like, I don't know if when you're giving a massage to somebody, if they're really conditioning your G center as much. It's much more like your friend group and your environment is the biggest conditioner, and where you go. I mean, if you spend a lot of time at a certain establishment, you kind of take on the quality of the spirit of that establishment. So if you're hanging out with a bunch of people who are all sports fans for a certain team, you can be the super fan of that team. Or if they're all fans of a certain band, you can be the super fan of that band. Or a certain restaurant or a certain place, really taking on even bigger the city that you live in or the town you live in, taking on the spirit of that place as if it's your own. When in reality, your spirit can lend itself to the spirit of the place. It's not that you're stuck your whole life being a fan of that or having that spirit.
I appreciate that explanation. A little story about King of Diamonds.
Uh-huh.
A little story about King of Diamonds.
Yeah.
At one point, I was meeting people. I used to go to what's called the Tucson Gym Show, and I
Mm-hmm.
give readings and consultations there in our booth, which we had.
Mm-hmm.
And so lots of different people came in, and this one fellow came in, and I found out that he was a king of diamonds, and that for the most part he was indigent, or he was indigent. What's that? Poor, poverty,
Indigenous.
Yeah.
poor.
Oh,
Just lived
indigent.
indigent,
Yeah.
indigent,
Uh-huh.
and that didn't make any sense to me for a second. Here's the king of diamonds, and he's indigent, and I says, friend, usually when you're a king of diamonds, you have you're the most financially protected card there is.
That sounds nice.
And he says, oh, that means that every time I move in under a new overpass, the thing I've noticed is there's always a mattress there for me.
Financial protection
Right.
everywhere you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a nice way to think of it, is just however you end up, whatever your trajectory, which will ultimately be through decision making and through, with an undefined G center, sometimes the thing that tells you I have to do this, I have to go find it, will actually, it's pretty hard having an undefined G. Like, I think there's also really nice, there's a binary to all of it. Like, each of the undefined centers seems really hard, but then it's also a huge relief that you don't have to do that thing once it's all operating smoothly. But the difficulty, I've seen it, where it's like you're stuck somewhere and you have a job and you have a relationship and you have a friend group and you have a place, and there's this feeling, especially when you get into human design, of, okay, now I'm really clearly seeing exactly what's going on in my life. Like, I have this whole vocabulary for describing it all. I'm seeing it, but I can't do anything about it. And with a defined G, hey, I'm limited as a generator. I have to wait to respond, and projectors have to wait to be invited, so on. We're all limited, but at least with a defined G, I can go, okay, I don't like this place. I'm going to go find somewhere else. And I go out and find it. And even if it takes me 100 tries, I find it. I found this house. It took me a year because I kept going, and I kept looking, and I kept looking, and at the 150th place I looked at, I was like, this is it, And but with that defined G, my realtor and her dad, I had like two realtors, both undefined G. They had incredible wisdom about the neighborhoods. They could tell me every last thing about the neighborhoods. Well, and they'd tell me things I didn't take into consideration. Well, realize if you're living here, you're going to deal with that from that, and the school's here with the traffic from that. And they understood everything perfectly because they witnessed it all so clearly. And yet, they kept sending me places that I would never want to live because they weren't here to go out and find it themselves. Now, I will say some undefined Gs do find incredible places, and I think it's because they've developed the wisdom to let the place come to them. So, like, for instance, being an undefined G and looking on Craigslist, I don't consider that going out and searching for something. I consider that almost like a spider, kind of waiting for the fly. Like, that's actually okay because it comes to you because you become wise about what it is you're looking for, but you're not mentally anguished of, I have to find it, I have to find it. What I have seen is the undefined G center being this endless source of never good enough. Like, not perfectionistic, not good enough, but just there's got to be something more, and there's got to be, like, an example would be, I, as a defined G, have a really strong sense of what is a really good place here in Santa Fe. And so I'll find a place for someone, and a defined G like myself will immediately recognize, oh my God, the price is perfect, the neighborhood's perfect, everything's perfect, I'll take it. An undefined G will often say, and I've had this happen numerous times here, well, do you think they would let me talk down the price a little bit? Because maybe, what if I did this? I don't think I can do it for a couple months. What if that happened? I'm going to hold off. I'm going to look for something better. And there's this like gambler's thing of like gambling for something better, gambling for a better place, gambling for a cheaper place, gambling. I'm like, this neighborhood is amazing. Like, the spirit of this neighborhood is so good. You should take this place right now because I only see a place like this once every 3 years. And they're like, I don't know. And then they end up getting something better, but it's in a totally different part of town that's not good, that's not better, that the whole spirit of that town is like homogenized traffic and, and all this stuff. So, really, I think the defined G, it's going to be very opinionated, and I'm not necessarily going to know what's best for others. I really only know what's best for me. But I can tell them it's best for them, and it's up to you as an undefined G to see if I'm right or not. And, it's kind of, that's my challenge as a defined G, is to try to be this compass for other people, and like, can I actually help them find the right job, find the right partner, find the right place to live? Your job as a undefined G is to be discerning and develop the wisdom to either tell me to butt out and know it's not right, or say, actually, I'll consider that. Thank you. You've found something I never would have thought of before. So that's how I see that.
So in the G, defined or undefined, discernment plays a big role.
Well, yes and no, but I mean, discernment plays a big role for all of the undefined centers. For me, you could call it discernment, but it's more like, I don't know if it's really discernment. We are both defined G, so we have a natural compass that will, I guess you could say it's discerning of what is, yeah, it is discriminating. It's saying, this is a good way to cook the food, this is a bad way. This is a good way to drive, that's a bad way.
Yeah.
This is a good way to make love, that's a bad way. I mean, everything. We have a million
Right.
opinions.
Uh-huh.
This is a good drink, that's a bad drink. I mean,
Only learned through experience about making love.
I guess so. Well, you're a projector, so it's a little different for projectors. That's what Ross said, is that anyone with an undefined sacral will kind of be conditioned by their partner. But in any case, we both have a defined G, so we have a strong sense of what we like and what we dislike, and then we can share that with people, and we can empower others through our own unique direction by. Really, it depends on the channel. We both have collective G channels, so we're more about sharing, saying, you should try this. This is a great restaurant. You should go there. You should, that's our collective. The individual is much more about empowerment, where they're saying, hey, this is my direction. It may not be your direction, but I'm going my way, and you can try it or not. It's up to you. But yeah, but basically the defined G is here to have a strong sense of their own direction, and then the undefined G is here to be discerning about which compass they're going to trust. So, yeah.
That was a good explanation.
Thanks. Yeah. Each of the centers has these,
Yeah.
They have a dichotomy between the one who has it and the one who doesn't.
So when you're undiscerning, my friend King of Diamonds, don't worry, you're still protected.
You always have a
That's
matrix,
exciting.
no matter where you go.
I'm probably nowhere near as discerning as I should be. I love everybody.
Um,
Well, that's a generosity of the G Center that makes me very happy to see. That
Yeah.
I love that generosity of spirit.
and that's a beautiful innocence too.
Yeah.
I really resonate with the challenge of the undefined G when you want to make a change and you can't. Like, it seems to come in these sort of quarterly cycles for me, where I just get really locked in with, like, it's not right. I have to something has to change, and it's like, chill, just chill, just chill. And it's like a week or so, and I sort of come out of it. But yeah, it's pretty intense, definitely.
No, it's a real existential crisis, and you can also notice, like, if you travel and visit a different group of people. I had a partner, and she had undefined G. She has undefined G, and 3 times in our relationship, we really had to take these breaks for about a week or 2 at a time while she had her existential crisis, and they were always following after she visited her high school friend group, who were all getting married and having kids, and they would go on these retreats together, and as soon as she'd come back, it would be like, what am I doing with my life? They're starting their own business, and I'm like still working at this place. They're having kids, and I'm still with this crazy guy Jonah. Who, what the hell is he doing? And me as a defined G, I always kind of say, I'm here to just keep the fire burning. So I would just keep the fire burning for us and be like, if you need a week or 2, you're going through this crisis, I'm not making any rash decisions or any conclusions. I'm not drawing any conclusions from this. It's not like, oh my God, my girlfriend is totally freaking out, therefore that means it's a bad relationship or anything. It was just like, she is doing her soul searching and going deep within to figure out if she does want something better, more, different. Can she? I mean, there is a real education of the spirit, where it's not that the defined G doesn't have to do that too. A lot of what you were talking about, Ray, about the ego also relates to the G center as sort of the spiritual center of love, and it does have a relationship to the ego center, sort of love to desire is kind of the kind of relationship there. And with the ego being more about the desires and the G center more about the love. And although there is also love in the ego, but it's
I
really,
have the ego. I just don't have the G.
yeah. So you have the desire, you just don't know what form.
I've got the desire. I just don't know where the hell to go.
That was something we actually read about the attentive clubs earlier. But anyway, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's a education of the G center that we all have, which is knowing when to settle and it's like knowing when enough is enough for the G center. So we can kind of generalize that undefined sacral keynote of knowing when enough is enough. That actually works for all the centers. Knowing when enough is enough food or sex or pleasure for the solar plexus. knowing when enough is enough talking for the throat, knowing when enough is enough thinking for the head and ajna. So knowing when enough is enough for the G center is really about spiritual greed and knowing when you actually are in a good enough relationship, you are in a good enough job, you are in a good enough place, but also being honest when you're not. And that's why in those times when my girlfriend was having her existential crises, I was kind of butting out a little bit because part of it was saying, you should give us a chance. We actually have a really good life. Believe me, I've had a lot of relationships. This is a really good one. I have a defined G. I think that this is a great relationship for both of us, not just for me, like stepping out of myself. I think that this is objectively good for you too. But at the same time saying, but you know what? Take a week, take a couple weeks. It's fine to have that space to get the perspective and then to think about. And once she did actually break up with me, had a relationship with someone else, and came running back to me like, God, it was so boring and terrible, and I really want to be in this. So it's like sometimes you need to like let that undefined G kind of sample the other directions for a while, long enough, and also that they may eventually go, okay, this was the right relationship for me. We went the right direction, but then that stopped being the right direction. It's okay also to realize when they need to go a different direction. So
I just realized by you explaining that in the way you did, was I had a relationship, a very close relationship with a partner that was an undefined G center. And when we buried the situation, and we're still great friends, however, in the process of us talking about it, I found that for me, it was the best relationship I ever had. And for her, it was not the best relationship, nor did she know what kind of relationship it was. So
sure.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it could have been something that was really helpful, but in a different way. It's like the defined G is here to really light the fire and burn the fire. And I don't have those existential crises. I mean, not only in that relationship did I not have that crisis, I was also in a 10-year monogamous committed relationship with someone with a defined G. And neither of us had that crisis for the whole 10 years. Not once did one of us go, I don't know if this is right for me and what should we do. Until it was over, we basically then started saying, we kind of came to the same conclusion of we've reached the end of the road. But with an undefined G, it's very much, my role is to keep the fire burning, and then they can kind of come and go as they need to, if they have that crisis, to see what else is out there and see what other G center conditioning feels like, really to see who else they could be. Because it's true, as a defined G, I'm always seeing, and it's not just for undefined Gs. Like I see a shirt that would look really good on Mike, and I'm like, Mike, this shirt would be amazing for you. And he goes, nah, or he says, oh, I like that shirt, and he'll wear it. I've given him some of his favorite shirts. I remember hearing from my girlfriend how much she hated two things: having to buy presents for people in her family and having to show them around town when they showed up because she didn't know where to take them. And over time, she got some tricks for that. She's like, okay, I can just take them to like this place and this place, and okay, I have like some good like wisdom, some good tricks for what to buy them for gifts. But for me as a defined G, that's an absolute delight. That's my favorite thing. If I have an undefined G who comes to Santa Fe and they don't know where to go, I'm kind of like, ooh, where could you go? Like, what is your scene? Like, you're kind of punk. I can take you to this dive bar. Or you're kind of fancy. I'll take you to this wine bar. Or you're kind of, and I can kind of imagine how I see them, the different versions. It's like Barbie. Did y'all see that classic, the modern classic Barbie movie where there's like a million Barbies? That is the undefined G right there. Or all the Kens or, any of them. But it's so fun for me as a defined G to kind of make a list of places for someone to go or to shop for them. I would be a great shopper for other people. Like I would be a great costume designer. I go out and
I get called for doing the shopping for people all the time.
But I also see undefined Gs who are really great at it too. For instance, Von Paul, my good friend, when I go to LA, he shows me all the best places, and I just tack that up to him having so much experience and being so wise in that he's developed such a wisdom of like what's going to work, what isn't. It's not necessarily that he has such a strong opinion of what's good for me. It's that he's collected so many amazing places they're kind of collectors in that sense, or
Yeah.
collectors of tricks, collectors of techniques, collectors of places. I don't really have a
How,
trick.
how about
Yeah.
scripts?
Collectors of scripts,
Yeah.
or just
Of things to say in the right.
yeah.
Time.
I think they could be. I mean, I think any undefined center is going to collect. So I think the undefined throat might collect some scripts. Undefined G might collect, yeah, things that you have a bag of tricks, so when somebody comes to town you need to show them around, you don't want to rely on your compass to show them around. That's what I do. I'm like, let's just go downtown. I don't even know where we're going, but I'll find it, and then I end up like taking them someplace and so on. But I think with the undefined centers, you're creating a bag of tricks you can draw from, and that's part of what the wisdom is.
Interesting.
And why it develops slowly. But you have an undefined sacral, so you have a bag of tricks of how to get things done efficiently, how to not waste energy.
Hire other people.
Yeah, but how to efficiently use other people. I hire other people. I don't know what to do with them. Like, what do I do? I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know. So you know what needs to be done. And how
Well, that's just because I spent 20 years managing 20 to 30 people, and I had to come up with a bag of tricks.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I was not going to create the success that I saw was possible.
Yeah.
I tend to work through other people because I only have a limited amount of energy as a projector, and I found the well of energy is through others for me.
Mm-hmm. By the way, we're in gate 48 right now, which is the well. So that's nice.
Well, that's something that's important in my human design.
Well, we have two more to look at because you've already told Pockets a little bit about hers
Yeah.
previously. So we have a 6 of clubs and a 7 of clubs.
And who's the 7 of clubs? Oh, well, that's the top right.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marissa.
Yeah.
And then
Marissa.
And then 6 of clubs.
My new
Nicola.
girlfriend.
Be careful.
I mean, she's got a Queen of Spades planetary ruler. I can't help but think there'd be big compatibility.
I feel it. I feel it too.
Perfect.
And the other was
Nicola. Yeah.
Was a which of clubs?
6 of clubs. Nicola.
Oh, I'm an expert at 6 of clubs.
Oh,
And I have a lot of respect for 6 of clubs and their incredible capacity for knowing and repeating what they know in the form of precision and detail. Whether they're doing acting or whether they're doing accounting or whether they're doing creative work, they're capable of the highest level of knowing and learning the details of how to make something better. And then the question is can you put that into functionality? Because it's known in the conscious presence of who you are, and you can write a book about it 10 times, but the question becomes putting it into practice. And that all has to do with the fact that in the spreads, the 6 of clubs is in the Saturn-Neptune position. And if you know about the cards, there's grids and positions on the matrix. And they're aligned through planetary influences. And so you have incoming Saturn expressing through Neptune. Saturn energy is known as refinement, responsibility, and how to really hold the fort when it comes to making something happen. It's foundational. And Neptune is almost the exact opposite. It's the inspirational, the visionary, the seeing better possibilities, the way that you can be inspired by something that, in your estimation, would be the perfect way that the world could be. And so, because of the difference in the two natures of the planetary influences, sometimes there's a conflict. And that conflict has shown up as how to put the rubber on the road at the level of the vision that you would like to create. And so, for the most part, it's important to start simple and take a little bit at a time, because your vision is so great and your ability to refine is possible, but it only grows through you being able to put the rubber on the road so that you can begin to trust yourself and to trust that what you're doing in a manner that it will not only bring success to you, but it will bring a vision that is greater than yourself into being. Now, in past lives, I've heard it said that the reason you're a Six of Clubs in this life is because the Six of Clubs is also the most powerful mental manifester. In other words, whatever you think happens. So, that is a real crisis, because if you are used to having a monkey mind that thinks negative thoughts, that has an ego that's critical, and everything's not as good as you expect it to be, and you don't have enough self-love in order to appreciate how good things really are, then you start getting this whole line of thinking that you wonder, how did that happen? You manifested what were the thoughts that were in alignment with a part of you that isn't in alignment with self-love. And so I lived with a Six of Clubs and had a daughter by a mother who was a Six of Clubs, and I watched her sabotage herself over and over again, because in the monkey mind thinking process, she continually was worried on levels that did not allow her to completely transition to a level of positive thinking. And so the more a Six of Clubs positively thinks, the more their world will begin to manifest in that light of positive understanding, rather than in the whole monkey mind chain of this could happen and that could happen and this might be a problem and that might be a problem. Six of Clubs have to understand, when you think a powerful thought that is positive, there's no way you can stop it from happening. And that's it. Don't think about anything of why it won't happen. And so it's kind of like this blessing or curse of thinking that which is the best for you. And as long as you think of what's best for you, that is a great technique for the Six of Clubs to move through. And in past lives, they get this karma of Saturn, Neptune in this life, so that they have to stop and think about what thoughts they're manifesting, because they can sabotage themselves quicker than anybody I've ever seen. I saw this woman that was a mother of my daughter. One day, she manifested the best job that you could imagine. And then she started thinking about how incapable she was and how much she'd have to learn. And she quit going to the job 2 weeks later and lost the job. So Six of Clubs needs to have very frontal lobe presence as to what thoughts are running, and be able to, in a second, transform thinking into the best results. And don't dwell on what you might consider to be the importance of you being a devil's advocate. Devil's advocate is not where you want to be. Be a saint in your thinking and only see the best possible results for you.
That is very helpful. I definitely resonate with the self-sabotage. And Yeah, it's interesting. I'm right brain and right mind as well. So I'm here to just be very passive in how I think, and I have an open head and ajna. And yeah, I'll
Just learn,
that's a good awareness.
but remember,
Yeah.
we are receivers and transmitters
Mm-hmm.
in the basis of what we are as human beings.
Mm,
Just learn which station to turn the receiver to. Don't listen to bad stations.
yeah.
As soon as you find yourself tuning into a station that's you're receiving something less than you know how good things can be, change the channel. That's how
This is
simple it
interesting.
is. However,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of self-awareness and presence to put that into a powerful impact. Just change the channel. Sometimes people get locked into a negative channel and they don't get off it. Sometimes for years.
I think as well, like, negative is what I'm just reflecting on from everything that you've uh, said is uh, I think passivity can also be negative in a sense. And I'm just talking about um, finding my way through like my sort of lifelong challenges being accepting my body. I'm in a bigger body and I have all of these things that sort of roll around, and I really just I want it to be something I don't think about or worry about, but I'm something that I'm conscious of and I try not to be. But um I think that I, yeah, I will stew on this through my spleen. Uh but there's something cooking because I think I almost have given up a little bit, which I have the channel of surrender. I am a transmitter. I'm the cross of Eden, all about, finding pleasure in the highs and the lows, if you will. But um I think that there's a part of me that's given up, which it was just negative thinking, but there's more to it. There's more of a nine-centered way of looking at it, I think, as well through that. And I think it can be as simple as changing that receiver, as you say, and holding that positive mindset through it and not really going anywhere else with it, because that's, I think, where I can be on the wrong channel, but it feels like I'm just trying not to worry about it, but it's also negative.
I understand, and I've given up 1,000 times. And I was so glad I did because it gave me a new frame of reference to get back on the horse
How many times?
and build from a whole new, what would you say, emptiness into
Oh God.
perhaps the next level of manifesting visions is kind of my interest in uh, what I call success. If I can imagine it and then manifest it. And that's always been kind of a barometer for me. And I can't tell you how many times I've given up on the beauty of the visions I've had. However, the next day, you get back up and you just do what it is that you know is on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Without purpose, it can be desolate.
Mm.
If you feel a sense of purpose, you'll be supported to get back up on the horse and ride again. I've done it 1,000 times.
Yeah, that's good context. The purpose piece with
Yeah,
it,
the
it definitely
purpose is really
resonates.
important for that desperation.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what your purpose is and you don't know what it's about, ask. Remember, we live in a friendly exchange cosmic universe that is willing to give you whatever you ask for. Don't forget to ask.
Yeah, that's good.
And what I find in most people that I counsel and do readings with, most people forget to ask. They don't have a cosmic connection. They don't have a proof in their life that because they thought and asked for something that Even when it comes, they don't believe that they had a connection. This is truly a source of self-sabotage. When you can't even have gratitude for something you asked for, and you won't even realize that the cosmos was your partner in creating it, and then you deny that, sometimes they just shouldn't get back on the horse. If they are that unfaithful in believing that goodness is what life is about and what love is about. It's all about goodness. There's other consequences, of course. That's what spurs us on to learn. That's what keeps me getting back on the horse, is because I know there's more goodness than what I'm experiencing. And I want it for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're still young, so you probably got another 1,000 times to get off the horse or be thrown off and get back on.
Probably. Yeah, I'm
And as far
expecting
as
maybe somewhere around
yeah,
50.
and there's one other thing I'd like to say to you, because you resonated something really important for me. And that was, I sometimes picked people by how they looked, or what my picture was of what would be most aggrandizing for me. I used to have little problems with, I thought I was fat. I thought I should have been 6'2". I thought I should have had a greater attraction to the opposite sex. All these sorts of things were all they were was pictures that I had in an elusive, non-existent mind that created these levels of expectation that had a theme of, let's defeat this guy. And the courage is to stand beyond that. Because I think we're all perfect. We just don't realize it.
I agree. Yeah.
And when you're on purpose, you'll realize how well you are equipped with the exact manifestation of who you are. And so just align with purpose of knowing that it's worth getting back up on the horse until you really discover that, and then there's nothing that can dissuade you or sabotage you. And that took
Yeah.
me 60 years to learn.
Yeah.
I didn't learn that till I was 60.
That's very interesting. I've been playing with my insecurity around it and just going like, I'm not buying my own bullshit anymore. And I'm just, because I know that like, I'm always inspired when I see other people who, you know, flaunt parts that I find that I feel insecure about within myself. And I'm playing with pushing through that and just doing the thing anyways, as opposed to hiding my insecurities because they're on display. And that feels very much on purpose for me. That feels really empowering. And I think that that's all a part of this puzzle, not even just the puzzle of how, what is the relationship with food and all of that. So it's interesting.
Well, you're
It's
getting
interesting.
a whole picture, and no matter what I eat, I'm always 200 plus pounds. I could eat salads the rest of my life and I'd still be 200 plus pounds.
Yeah. 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 That's so true.
It's just
Yeah.
somehow my design. I don't know
Yeah.
how it all works. But the other thing I've known is I've known some fantastic people with bigger bodies and women, and I have seen that they have the capacity to handle more power than anybody I've ever known. They have to have that foundation and that stature and that structure. And they had the ability to ground things and make it happen, and their body proved it. I've been taken down more than once by a big woman.
In more than one way, no doubt.
Most of the time, it was innocent.
Most of the time. Yeah.
I had a
Yeah,
partner that we
very
used to
true.
give seminars, and she was 6 foot tall, and probably close to 180 pounds. And boy, could she create presence.
Woo.
She knew how to get people's attention. She knew how to land and make people listen just by her being there.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so I learned to respect um, all sizes, all kinds, all types, and get past my pictures.
Yeah.
If people got pictures, that's their problem.
Yeah.
Truly is. It's not your
Yeah.
problem when you're on purpose.
Amazing. I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
Well, let's get to happy hour while we still can.
I'm
From
glad
one
to do
happy
it.
hour to the next.
It's always a pleasure to meet Jonah's constituents and students and his partners in crime.
Yeah, collaborators,
Yeah.
colleagues.
And the more I hang out with Jonah, the more joyful I become just having the opportunity to meet such, what would you say, introspective people in a way that, and I go back to Ra. I have to say that Ra helped me so much with this book because I didn't really know what I was writing about until I got the context that we're all here to love ourselves.
Mm.
I was circling around the barn and I had a lot of it together. But then Jonah showed me, I'll read it to you, this sentence. This sentence is what finally put this 40 pages into a transformational masterpiece. Here's the sentence. I am deeply saddened by the lack of self-love in human beings, by the lack of surrender, by the lack of acceptance, by the lack of grace. It is something that astonishes me. I see it more and more every day of my life, and I don't like it. I am not very social by nature, and I find it quite uncomfortable. It is the deep lack of love within the being that if you don't find that love within yourself, you find everything that's wrong with the world, everything that is wrong with the other, and everything that is not right. It is a liberation, a true liberation, to find love, not your neighbor, not God, yourself. That crystallized and catalyzed this into becoming a transformational understanding of how people can go through their experiences and come out loving themselves. And that's what I wrote it about. But I didn't really know it until I got that paragraph.
Yeah, it's making me think of one in particular. I'm just trying to see. It's basically, I think it ends in base at the end is maybe, just maybe, through doing all of this, you'll learn what it's like to really love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Is how it ends. It's really beautiful. I found that really profound.
Yeah. So let's all make a toast. Cheers to everyone here. Raise your spirit, raise your life, and dedicate it to purpose. And the main purpose is to love who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Everything
Amen to
else
that.
begins to work.
Hear, hear.
Amazing.
All right.
Well, thank you, Jonah.
Yeah, thanks everyone for being here, and yeah, till next time.
Okay.
I think we're gonna head
Nice
And
meeting
if
you.
are interested
Thank
in
you
this
very much.
transformational masterpiece, I'm now calling it.
The
What is
raging.
poetic
Don't forget
verse?
raging.
Just contact Jonah and we'll figure out.
Yeah, I can connect you guys to Ray.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, here it is. Again, again. and it's the subtext here, the subtitle is "A New Earth Declaration for Independence." So,
Ooh,
all
I want to
right,
check it out.
rest of
Amazing.
or evening as it may be, and we're gonna head out.
All right.
Adios,
Have
amigos.
fun. Thank you, Jonah and Ray.
Nice to meet you.
everyone. Yeah,
Yes.
nice to connect.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.